Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed. Right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I
it.
don't think I've ever said this before.
All right, gang, hope you had a good weekend. Lots going on. There's a guy that wants to be the president who is the governor of California who apparently came up at first, was against the wealth tax in the state of California. Now he says he wants to make the wealth tax a national topic. And on top of that, he starts talking about how the top 10% makes too much money. Yeah, I don't know if you know how much the top 10% makes, Vinny. If you're in the top 10% individual income, you make $155 a year. If you're in the top 10% husband and wife, you make $255 a year. He says you're too rich. That's what Newsom is saying. He's saying it's too rich, and we got to do something about this. And now he wants to come. And Elon responded, and, he responded to Elon. There's a bunch of things going on there. We'll talk about that. Iran's goal, apparently, allegedly, FIFA's coming out and saying we made a mistake because, they were celebrating. It was a big thing that they were almost about to win and advance. And I think goal was scored last minute, and they got kicked out. It's a whole different story we'll address. Israel officially is recognizing the Armenian genocide. It's a big story that was all over the place. The Armenian, Assyrian, Greek genocide of what Turkey did. And I'll share that story. We'll get into that. Then aside from that, Iran strikes a couple boats and Trump's not happy. Right after business hours, I think on Friday, they made sure the market was closed before they retaliated. And they said this was intentional, that they waited for the market to close before. But whether they did that or not, I would say strategically good for them. If they didn't want that to happen. A guy named Chris Murphy wants minimum wage to be raised to $25 an hour across the country, from $7.25 to $25 an hour. And a lot of people are talking about this. They don't understand how damaging this is going to be to certain people, but we'll address it. Mandani says a DSA candidate can win anywhere. Literally, he says anybody can win as a DSA. Democratic Socialist can win everywhere. And Trump came out and said he would be the best communist in the world. He says, I would be the best communist in the world, and he had a bunch of other things to say about that. We'll talk about that. Texas wants to make Bible passages part of the curriculum in school, and not a lot of people are happy about it, but Texans are. They're like, no, we kind of like that. Let's do that. Let's go back to what it was like back in the days. And then there's this commercial that Vinny just watches on repeat, but they haven't convinced him yet. But it's just a commercial he watches on repeat. The HelloFresh commercial.
It's not a commercial. It was a post for Pride Month that if they don't know, they're going to be shocked that they actually did it, and they double down on it.
When he told me what it is, I said, that's not even possible because that's a dumb idea to do that. Unless if you're a niche product and you only sell to people that, he'll address it. Yeah. It's a very weird story. But again, people are, some marketing companies, they don't, they're quick to forget what Dylan Mulvaney did to a couple of their ideas. Movie came out. I have to talk to you guys about this movie. Last time me and Tico watched this movie, we had conversations till 12:15 at night. In the morning today, this new movie with Armie Hammer about the citizen vigilante. Vinny, if you haven't seen it, everybody has to watch it. By the way, it is such a controversial movie, Vinny. I think the budget was $750,000, if I'm not mistaken.
It's nothing.
With this, it's nothing. It's like the other movie, Obsession, was $750,000.
It's a weekend in Miami.
Can you show how much the budget was? It could have been $7.5 million, but I just saw $750,000. Okay. Go a little bit lower right there to see what the budget was. Can you ask what the budget for it was? I thought it was $750,000. Anyways, so $750,000 budget makes the movie. The movie is banned in Germany. You can't even watch the movie in Germany right now. Oh, budget was $80 million? There's no way the budget was $80 million. There's no way the budget was $80 million. No, that's not true.
Time for some duck.
So verified at a different place than this place.
That's the Wikipedia.
But the movie is, Vinny, you watch it, you're like, this is not even a good idea. Can you just ask ChatGPT, guys, instead of Google? Yeah, just get in the habit of just ask ChatGPT with these questions instead of going to Google and other places. It's faster.
So you're saying it's not a good...
Vinny, it's one of the most controversial movies I've seen that I think is going to create a revolution and chaos in Europe. There's a reason why Germany banned this movie, and it's the #1 movie on Apple. When you watch this movie, you're going to be like, the wrong people see this movie, they're going to do what's in this movie. Like if Brits watch it, Vinny, you have to watch this movie to see what it's shot in Croatia. I'll give you my thoughts on the movie here in a minute.
He said $3 to $5 million.
Okay,
Modest,
that makes sense
modest,
to me.
low
$3 to
budget.
$5 million. It's not an $80 million stuff. It's not, aside from Army Hammer, the acting isn't the best, but the movie is ridiculous.
Okay, great.
Uruguay soccer team, the nation, you know what they said? Hey, since you guys lost and got kicked out, we're not paying you for your private jet. Find a way to come back on your own money. Did you hear about this?
Uruguay? Wait, Uruguay's
You're saying the
national
country
team?
of
Jennifer's
Uruguay.
telling me this, and I said, babe, that's AI. That's not a real story. I said, She says, no, babe, it's on Yahoo. I said, babe, go verify it. She verifies it. The country Uruguay said, instead of flying you back first class on a private jet, we're not paying for it. Go get your own ticket to come back. Because of how disappointing of a loss it was.
I mean, that's kind of messed up. Dude.
It's a lot better than what Colombia did. Colombia, they killed the guy.
Of course, I remember that 1992.
It wasn't really Colombia. It was Pablo.
Well, Iraq,
yeah.
Uday, Saddam's son, would have a dungeon in the basement of the stadium and beat their feet. So,
Yeah.
I dare you,
So-
America, to
and
lose
then-
to Bosnia.
and then-
See what happens.
Soros story comes out, giving $100 million to a bunch of guys on
$110 million to all the left,
a bunch of midterm
people that hate America.
Yeah, apparently it's going to be the biggest money that's ever been given to what do you call it? To people in midterm. So Soros
And a big
will address
bucket
that.
went to our guy Roe.
Yeah, and a bunch of guys came back and said, what about the $250 million that Elon gave to Trump? Valid argument. So we'll talk about that on what happened there. And then there was Tucker brought one of Trump's former aides, Alex, and they had a back and forth about Israel, which was an interesting back and forth. And then Volkswagen, folks, announced they're firing 100,000 people. Not 100, not 1,000, not 10,000. I mean, we're not talking about practice here.
Not
We're talking
talking
about
about
100,000 employees they're laying off. And then maybe I got a couple other clips to show to you guys. With that being said, guys, last chance, July 1st, 6 p.m., fatherhood, a webinar, free webinar. If you haven't yet registered, go do it. It's just the last chance for you. Once we do it, it's out. There's going to be a lot of resources. Wives, get your husbands registered. Gentlemen, as busy as you are, fathers, get on this thing. And some of you guys that don't even have kids, you'll have an edge over everybody else. We need strong fathers for today's economy. Go to VT Webinar to register for that. But we have a big announcement today. We have a massive announcement today. And here's what the announcement is. What weekend is this? What's this weekend coming up?
This is July 4th weekend.
4th of July.
Is the birth.
So guess what we're doing for 4th of July? We only are going to do this twice a year, okay? And it gets hot every time we do this. And let me tell you what it is. Twice a year, we do something where you get a chance to compete to be on a podcast. Last time we did this, we had a friend that got on
Ernesto,
who was with Tesla for 8 years, and we had an incredible time with him here. So let me tell you what we're doing for 4th of July. First of all, if you can go to the website to show what we're doing special for 4th of July, on the main one that says 4th of July, if we have that on the website, it should be right on the cover when you go to it. It says Celebrate 250 Years. If you go to the Celebrate 250 Years on the site, it should be the first one. No, it's if you go on the website, the homepage should say Celebrate 200. There you go. Go to Shop the Sale, click on that. Here's what we're doing. First 200 people that place an order, as of right now, you're getting this golden Valuetainment water bottle that comes in. What do they call this thing here? It's a,
it's not
what do you
Yeti,
call these
Tom.
things?
Yeti?
You used to call them Yetis or coolers.
Okay, so it's a water cooler you can drink when you go into the gym, but it's the golden. We only got 200 of these. First 200, you're getting this sent to you. Number 2, the Value Plus last season's items that you can go buy items as low as $15, $10, 70% off this weekend, 4th of July. Then on top of that, hats. Buy any hat. You have a bunch of options on second hat, 50% off. And then on top of that, courses. Typically, all our bundles together, the value of all the bundles together, it's $7,000, $8,000. This weekend, buy the 5 bundles, Art of Public Speaking, Advanced Business Strategy, whether it's PBD sales system, business planning, all of that, 5 combined, $1,000 just this weekend for 4th of July. And then aside from that, the first 50 people that place an order over $1,000, we're going to FaceTime you. We do this every year, and it's exciting when we do it. The next time we do this will be Christmas time. First 50 people place an order over $1,000, we're giving you a FaceTime call. Normally when we do this, it's very good conversations. And then last but not least, anybody that places an order over $2,000, you enter in a raffle to make an appearance on the PBD podcast. The night before we take you to dinner at Casa D'Angelo, we sit down, we laugh our asses off, we prepare for the podcast. Then the next day you're sitting right here with us, with everybody else, and you are all over the place, and all the clips, everything that we do, you're literally having a conversation with the boys. And when you come here, I personally will give you a tour of the office space. So again, first 200 buyers, boom, you get one of these. You got the $1,000, first 50, FaceTime call from us, $2,000 home team, buy hat, get second, 50% off, and you got a bunch of other things to take. We got a bunch of new shirts, new gears, new hats that's on there as well. So go to vtmerch.com to place your order. I cannot wait to see you or have a FaceTime with you or see you guys represent the Future Looks Bright brand or Faith Over Fear all over the world. With that being said, let's get right into it. Gavin Newsom comes out, makes a video, talks about the fact that the wealth tax, because he was pushing back on the wealth tax. I don't know if you guys are watching this or not. He was saying, no, it's not a good idea. Ro Khanna and him were going back and forth, and Ro Khanna's like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you do it? We should do this. And then finally the man caves and doesn't just say agrees with the wealth tax, but he goes even beyond where socialists want. Pay very close attention. If you make over $155 a year, or if you make as a household over $255 a year, watch this clip here. It's dedicated to you.
Tax and a new social
Can you go back
contract.
a little bit? Can you go back a little bit?
Think about this, just 10% of, it's time for a national billionaires tax and a new social contract. Think about this, just 10% of people, 10% of people in this country own 2/3 of the wealth. A 30-year-old, for the first time in American history, is not doing better than his or her parents. That's a 5-alarm fire. American wages have stood still, and the costs across the spectrum, cost of living, have skyrocketed. The system is fundamentally broken. The federal tax code, the corporate tax code, and the inheritance tax code seem to be written for a different set of Americans. It's time for an economic reset, a true minimum tax.
So you can pause it
true
right
minimum
there.
tax.
Folks, here's what he's saying to you. He's saying vote for me to be the president so I can go tax everybody in the top 10% of the category. And the top 10% isn't rich, by the way. Top 10% makes $155 individually. Household, $255. If you make $155 a year and you live in LA, you're broke.
Yep.
If you make $155 a year and you live in Manhattan, you are super broke. If you make $255 a year and you live in Manhattan trying to have a decent life, you're broke. If you're making $255 a year, that's 10% of households. After taxes in the state of California, maybe you're keeping $150, give or take. So what's $150? $12K a month. Go ahead and pay for all this stuff that you have to pay in California. You're broke. So now does he not just, he doesn't just want to take this wealth tax to the state he said no to. Now he says, let's skip the state, let's go to national. Hey, DSA, I'm here, socialists, vote for me. I can be a socialist candidate. Hey, Mandani, give me some attention. I'm going to be a socialist. I'll be a good socialist, please. Come on, let me cave. Let me cave to these other Democrats and to these ideas. And if you can go to my tweet, by the way, on what I said to him on this. Yeah, right here, Gavin Newsom says, don't worry, we'll be taxing trillionaires even more. Time to cough up after all that California corporate welfare. He's talking about Elon Musk. If he can go to the tweet on what I said towards him as well on this, is he caved. He caved. That's what he did. Socialists got him. Newsom is officially a socialist. Just go on X and go a little bit lower, go a little bit lower, lower. It's coming up right there. Go above that. 1 minute you're a Democrat, next minute you're a socialist. Did the DSA break you? You know the billionaire tax is a bad idea. Why not stand your ground as a Democrat instead of joining the socialist camp? Tom, I'm going to come to you in a second. Terrible strategy. Here's what's going on. They gave him $24 billion for homelessness. He wasted it. Homelessness doubled. Mm-hmm. He had a $100 billion surplus in 2022. You know what it was at the end of the year last year? Minus 10 million. Jeez. You go from $100 billion in surplus to minus 10 billion. He's got 216 to 246 billionaires in the state of California. They don't think they're going to leave. They think they're going to stick around and be over there. They're not like, people are not going to be leaving, going to any other place. And they don't realize the math behind this. This isn't a 5% tax. This is about an 8 to 10% tax. Here's him and Elon Musk having a conversation together back 14 years ago when Elon Musk was a liberal. I don't know if you've ever seen this or not. I found this clip, send it to the guys. Watch this clip between him and Elon Musk. Go for it. Look how friendly they look.
Craft to go up to orbit and actually make its way down here in the Pacific Ocean. What's your sense of where you are, and what's your concern as you grow this company?
SpaceX is doing really well. We had a successful mission at the space station. We were able to go back there and back again. It really exceeded our great best expectations. And now we're going to go do a whole bunch more missions like that. We'll also be launching satellites, broadcast and communication satellites.
But you didn't come out of a background and you didn't come out of NASA. You didn't come out of a background in space.
Improbable outcome.
Yeah. Well, how did and the reason I frame, from PayPal and the internet
pause
to
it right there. So
changing the way we look at
show. From friendly, you had him. That SpaceX was tiny at the time compared to some of these other things. Now it's a $1.82 trillion company, what they got going on there. And now he wants to tax billionaires. Tom, your thoughts on this with him wanting to tax billionaires nationally, well tax, as well as targeting the top 10%?
Well, first of all, it's completely wrong-headed. But what you have to do is Gavin Newsom's policies are a polluted lake, and you have to go upstream from the polluted lake. I'm a big fan of upstream, analysis. January, Gavin Newsom was worried about the backlash that was coming from the billionaire tax. Some very big guys were leaving the state. Some people were getting in Gavin's ear saying, I don't know if this is good. This is going to hurt. This is going to hurt revenue of the state of California. Gavin gets quiet. Remember that? He was talking about it, but not like this. And then he actually was quoted in 2 articles saying, I hope it doesn't pass. I'm not sure if it's the way to go. All of a sudden we had that Gavin Newsom. Then you remember that? Like April timeframe, I believe. Then what happens? I will tell you when he flipped, and I'll tell you what made him cave. Cave is the right word, PBD. He caved. You know why he caved? The New York primaries. 3 people sweep in from DSA right next to Mandani. And then Soros and the money is out there. You need 2 things. You need support and you need money from within the party. And right now, the arm of the party, like the Tea Party was the arm of the Republicans some years ago, like MAGA was the arm of the Republicans in 2016. Now you're seeing DSA and Soros as the arm of strength and the arm of momentum. And Gavin Newsom caved. Gavin Newsom moved right after those New York primaries, Pat. That's the way I see it. Now, that's what happened. What's the outcome? He doesn't understand, or maybe he does understand, but I hope the voters understand. When you give the Democrats a knob like this on the dashboard of taxation, they turn it. Good news, we're taxing the rich tomorrow morning. Bad news, we also think you're rich.
Yep, Adam.
I don't know if Gavin Newsom even understands what he stands for at this point. I think he just looks at what's going on in the world and goes, oh, yep, that's what I am now. There's 3 people that I just do not believe anything they say. Number 1 is Gavin Newsom. Number 2 is the IRGC. And number 3 is my ex-girlfriend. We won't talk about her. Let's stay on Gavin Newsom. By the way, taxes. So what percentage of taxes does the 1% pay in America? Based on the estimations, it's up to 40% of the overall federal taxes the 1% already pays. The top 10% is 70%. The top 50% pay 97% of taxes. We're already getting taxed up the wazoo. Gas tax, billionaire tax, wealth tax, income tax, state tax, tax. And his answer is, we got to tax more. By the way, this is not an income tax, it's a wealth tax. So they're just going to tax
5%
your assets,
one-time
right?
wealth tax, yes.
Seizure.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've learned this before. That what did Ronald Reagan say? The 9 scariest words are, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. They're not here to help. They're here to seize your assets, seize the means of production. And this is Gavin Newsom. And by the way, it works for him somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow he's still in power.
Yeah, and by the way, this leads to 2 other stories, and then we'll get into the next stories. The next story is the fact that Soros comes out announcing that he's given $100 million into the midterms. You guys want to pull that story up? I don't know if we have a video on that or not. New York Post posted this. George Soros and Alex have funneled staggering $103 million into midterms so far, on track to shatter spending record. Can you go a little bit lower on that story? And who are the candidates that they're supporting? So George Soros and Alex have spent $102-point-something million. Money talks, and Soros, George Soros could shatter his own record of $128 million last midterms 4 years ago when he was the biggest single donor. Money talks and Soros money says the most insidious, unconstitutional, costly tax hikes in American history are on the table, says Douglas Kellogg, State Project Director for American Tax Reform. Go a little bit lower. Soros is a wannabe Bond villain. Can you pull up the picture of who they're giving the money to? Of that, $52 million came from George Soros through the private corporation Geosor under his name, and the other half, $50 million from Fund for Policy Reform, a nonprofit which lists Alex Soros as a director. In previous election cycle, Open Society Action Fund's cash flow to groups backing lefty stars like Squad, AOC, and Representative Ilhan Omar, but in its tax filings aren't yet available. Go a little bit lower to see what else we got here. So he is seeing this as an opportunity. Tom, by the way, he was even, if I'm not mistaken, also supporting Graham.
Yeah, of course.
Go a little bit lower.
Course,
Yeah, Graham Plattner also got money from him. Go a little bit lower. Very proud of that tattoo. Alex Soros, 40, and his father both spent a maximum $7,000, $14,000 to Maine senatorial candidate Graham Plattner. So they're very open about it on what they're doing. Tom, how do you process this going into the midterms?
We have to look at who they're going into the midterms. They're going to look for the populist candidate that can get them in position because it becomes their Manchurian candidate. John Ossoff
He's in there.
is in there. Absolutely. And you can see Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna has been populist in California, has managed to keep a fairly happy Silicon Valley around him. But I don't recognize the Ro Khanna we saw on this podcast and some of the positions he's saying today. And yet that's where this money is pumping. He's pumping him into the candidates that are not, he's pumping into the wild cards or the wildcats, Pat, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The ones that you and I look at and go, my goodness. But he's also pumping them into others that are less like wildcats and more look like, electable core. And when you've got affordability, and I saw surveys over the weekend, I'm going to say it out loud, affordability and also an increasing distrust of the Israel relationship. I saw an under 25 poll that had both of those things up there. And that's what he stands for, and that's what he pushes. And guess what? The people are moving.
Adam.
Soros? I mean, look, some people are going to say, well, Elon Musk donated this money. I don't see anything wrong necessarily with billionaires putting their money where their mouth is. I actually respect it. What I don't respect is basically what they actually stand for. So basically here's George Soros is a radical leftist. Is that fair to say?
Hardcore.
Okay, I don't think that Elon Musk is a radical anything. Of course. At the end of the day, MAGA, they say if you stand in the middle of the road, you're going to get run over. So you have to pick a side. And that's on most issues. And I understand that most issues are not black and white. There's a gray area. At the end of the day, here's what's happening. MAGA has basically taken over the GOP. It's Trump's party now. And the DSA has taken over the Democratic establishment party. The George Soroses of the world, the Mamdanis of the world, they're the captain now. So one says, make America great again, and one literally advocates death for America. One will use the flag as a napkin, the Chevalier, whatever her name is, that Mamdani endorsed. One flies the American flag high and proud. At the end of the day, they're two completely diametrically opposite perspectives on the vision of America. And by the way, you have a choice. You have to say, do you look at what MAGA is doing, or do you like it, or do you like what the DSA is doing? Here's the catch: you're not going to agree with 100% of either thing. But which one do you actually identify with? For a long time, me personally, I was more of a moderate. Okay, I could see this, I could see that. At this point, when I look on the left and I see what's going on with the DSA, just sign me up for full MAGA at this point.
Pat, I think right now, and I've never said this before, with everything that's happening with Mamdani and the Gavin Newsoms and the Governor Warnock. But by the way, Pat, Senator Raphael Warnock, the guy, the bald black guy with the glasses, who's getting paid by him. He was inside of a synagogue, I believe, and he was saying, denying the trans agenda is an offense to the glory of God. He's standing on a pulpit. There's a clip of him saying that. You have to understand, we are in a fight for the soul of this nation. And I've never said that before because I'm taking a look back, Pat, and I'm looking at it. How do we get here? How do we get that the face right now of the Democratic Party is Mamdani, AOC, and all these people are bending the knee? And I'm telling you right now, the more I think about it, Pat, Donald Trump destroyed this forever. Because since 2016, they tried to stop him. Russia collusion, fake impeachment, Fauci, COVID-19, name it, Pat. The tech companies stopping stories, blocking him, open border, all that stuff, Pat. Everything was focused on Trump. And now, guess what? The dust settles, and what are we left with? We are left with this party. Again, no vision, no policies, no leaders. And because of that, you have people like Adam just mentioned. They're hijacking America-hating, Marxist, communist, pro 9/11 promoting people that are trying to drag us down, and you have George Soros, who absolutely, him and his evil mini-me freaking son, Pat, they hate this country. They love this globalist, progressive nonsense system, and they just want to destroy America from within, okay? And it's our job, guys. I don't care about how much you hate Trump or Republicans or whatever. This is a fight for the soul because it's a cancer. It started in New York and it's starting to spread. And I'll show a video later of Dearborn, Michigan. You won't recognize Dearborn, Michigan.
yeah,
you think it's the Middle East. And I'm sorry. This is I'm going to keep saying it. This is a Christian nation. And the way that these people are acting and thinking, it's anti that. This is, Pat, just FYI, where do you think that is? Play this video. Pat, where do you think that is? If you had to guess.
I mean, I'm going to say Dearborn.
That's Dearborn, Michigan, guys. You think it's a joke? You think this Mandani smiling with that dumb look on his face? This is what you're up against, and this is all, and they're all bending the knee. Gavin Newsom, Cory Booker, they're all bending the knee. This is not America, bro.
Yeah.
Can I just add one thing to what Vinny said? I agree with Vinny. You know, you said something that actually caught me off guard when you said Raphael Warnock said he wants to restore the soul of our nation. I'm like, where have I heard that before? That was Joe Biden's campaign message. If you remember that in 2020, he kept talking about we have to restore the soul of our nation. But look what happened after he, quote unquote, restored the soul of our nation. Yeah. We had to use pronouns and we had the transgender day of visibility instead of Easter. Yep. This is what's going on in America today when we're restoring the soul of our nation.
Let's go to the next story. Next story, and it kind of goes with all this stuff. If he can go to the Cal sheet to show what are the chances of the billionaire tax passing, look at this.
What?
It dropped. It came back up.
Weird.
Yeah.
Passing, 40%. It's close to 40% now on Cal sheet. How much money's been put on it? 524,784 is the volume, and it just came back up. So California, I was talking to a friend of mine was over here yesterday. They went to the Portugal game, Colombia, the one we were at, and we were having a conversation about what's going on over there with taxes. He's like, man, I don't know what's going to be happening to us long term, but the billionaire wealth tax, Tom, if you were a betting man, would you bet on it passing or not passing?
I believe it's going to pass on a populist wave as the summer of affordability continues to bake California.
I don't see a reason why it doesn't pass, because it only hurts 216 to 246 people.
Exactly.
And what are those people going to do, Pat? Do they leave?
They have a choice to leave or stay.
Well,
and it's going to be a very nasty situation.
And if the affordability is so tough, how does the regular person say what's right for the state when they're sitting there asking themselves, what's right for me?
Yeah. So, by the way, this goes with a story that came out with Democrat Chris Murphy saying $25 minimum wage could win back Trump voters. Is this it? Go for it.
We are here to introduce a simple piece of legislation that stands for a simple premise. A minimum wage in the United States of America should be a living wage in the United States of America. This is the most powerful, the most affluent, the wealthiest country in the world. There is no reason that somebody should go to work full-time in this country and not be able to pay their bills.
Didn't pay attention to
there
the
is
math.
no
Is he going to get to the number, guys, or no?
In a world where we just
is he going to give the number?
The first trillionaire, in a world where the top 1% of Americans.
I'll just tell you what he's going to say. He's going to say $25 minimum wage. Okay, so he wants to go to $25 minimum wage from $7.25, and he thinks we need to go there. Which $25 minimum wage is $50,000 a year salary. To just kind of look at the math, how it works. And here's the problem that they don't think about with a $25 minimum wage. You know who can afford $25 minimum wage? Businesses in LA, businesses in New York City, maybe in Chicago. Any of the top 20 metropolitan cities, they'll take a hit, but it's not going to be that big of a hit. You know who's going to take a big hit? The small business owner in Hope, Arkansas, the small business owner in Toledo, the small business owner in these small cities that they're trying to barely make any money, and they're paying $12 an hour, $15 an hour, because it's a different cost of living. Can you pull up a number to say, you know, what is the median income by state? Pull up median income by state. You got it. So let's look at the median income by state. If we look at by state, look at this. Okay, what is at the top? The $104,000. It doesn't put a state next to it. Does it put a state next to it? I don't see a state next to that one. Okay,
I believe it's New York.
Let's just say New York, 104,828. What's 2? Jersey, 104. Maryland, 102. Hawaii, 100. California, 99. Hampshire, 99. Washington, 98. Connecticut. Now go to the bottom. So New Mexico, 65. Okay, Louisiana, 63. Arkansas, 62. West Virginia, 61. And the lowest, it doesn't say the state there for whatever reason, $59,000. Okay? You want to apply this? Do you realize like it's 2x in New York versus I think that could be Mississippi. I don't know what that state is. It's 2x the number. And you just want to say, yeah, let's raise it from $7.25 to $25 an hour. You're going to break the backs of these small business owners. And you know who wins, by the way? They don't understand how the math works. Guess who can afford to pay $25 an hour? The big companies. You know who can't? Small companies. You know who should be for small business owners? The Democrats that they say for the helping the working class people. Every time you raise the minimum wage, big businesses are like, man, I love me some Democrats. Please raise the minimum wage because I can afford it. And I'll pass it along because the product, let's just say they buy this. Let's say we buy 500 of these. And so if I buy 500 of these, the guy that sells it, he'll says, I'll sell you 500 of these. Let's make up a number for $10 a pop. But what if I buy 1,000 of these? Oh, $5 a pop. What if I buy 10,000 of these? Oh, $3.50 a pop. What if I buy 100,000 of these? $1.80 a pop. So who can afford 100,000 of these? Walmart. The guy that's running a small little shop says, I can only buy 88 of them. Well, that's $12 a pop. And you want to raise the minimum wage on that guy? You hate small businesses. Democrats hate small businesses. They literally do. You hate small business owners. You love big business. Democrats indirectly love big businesses. They just love protecting these big businesses. Don't you just love protecting the big businesses? That's who can afford it. It's basic economics. It's not complicated stuff here that we're talking about. Go try to order 10 of these and see how much a custom one of these costs for 10. Then go order 100,000. Test it for yourself. See how much the difference the price is. It's amazing how much they save. So I think, Tom, this is a terrible idea for small business owners. But the question then becomes, should the minimum wage stay at $7.25 or should they raise the national minimum wage? Should it just be left alone and let the market decide? What's your position with this, Tom?
I've always felt that the market should decide because if no one is willing to work for a certain wage, no one will take that job. And that's the market forces. Should there be some sort of a floor? I don't know. As soon as you put a floor in, now you give the government a knob and they're going to turn it. I think the unintended consequence here, they don't really realize what's going on. On day one, right today, right now, Vinny, you know what a Big Mac average in America is? $6.12. Just the Big Mac, not the meal.
The meal.
Just a Big Mac. And the average wage at McDonald's, in small markets, it's $10 to $12 an hour from the guys first starting and somebody's been there a little while. And in larger market, it's $13 to $14. So it's $12.20. The average wage at McDonald's, Pat, is $12.20. And the Big Mac is $6.12. If I raise the minimum wage to $25, I go from $12.20 to $25. That's exactly doubling. The Big Mac now will cost $12.42 by my math. And that's just on labor costs. And so I don't think they understand. And when they tried to, you know what they did? When they tried to move the minimum wage in New York, I've talked about this before, and I think it was Bloomberg that did it. It accelerated the big business McDonald's investing in kiosks so you could go in and order and eliminated jobs that some high school kid could have had. So it's exactly what Pat's talking about. You love the big businesses. They'll find a way out. They'll do it. The small businesses and the small workers and the teenagers and people that are actually trying to do things, you think you're helping them, but you're not.
Adam.
This guy, Chris Murphy, and I'm sure he's a nice guy, is absolutely weak on everything. I don't know if you saw this. He was actually on Meet the Press this weekend. When you said that you brought his name up, I actually didn't hear about this $25 minimum wage thing. I went and saw him on MSNBC. By the way, this guy, Ryan Nobles, whoever filled in for Kristen Welker, did a great job. And he kept asking him, should Americans have an ID in order to vote? And the way that he just spinelessly wiggled his way around the answer and the shout out to the host pressing him. So are you saying that we don't need IDs? you just saw him like it was like Gavin Newsom, like weak-minded, just no backbone. What's my point with this? He's using this $25 thing as a complete distraction. By the way, what's the highest minimum wage in the country now? I think it's $17 in California and Washington. So there's no state that even has a $25 minimum wage. In his state of Connecticut, I think it's $16. So he's using this as a distraction. All they have is look at Trump, look at Trump, look at Trump. And then when they try to reverse it and say, well, now it's on you, buddy. What do you want to do with the SAVE Act? Nope, $25 minimum wage. It's a complete distraction. And at the end of the day, this weak, feckless Democratic establishment is getting cannibalized by the DSA, and you're going to lose your job to an even lefter person than you, buddy.
Pat,
Good luck out there.
Can you?
That's the big point.
And I'm
They're
not-
going to lose their jobs to the harder left. The
Exactly.
core Democrats, I'm sorry,
No,
Vinny,
go
I'm
ahead.
very sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all good.
The core Democrats are useful idiots as the even more lefties show up and are going to run the party.
Exactly.
Tom, I'm sitting here and I'm hearing the story after story after story, him commenting and then you commenting. Name me something that the Democratic Party is doing positive, Pat. Give me something that would make me change my mind, like how Elon Musk changed his mind and became more conservative. Can you give me one thing? No, and I'm being dead serious. Give me something. Sell me. Try to make me become a Democrat. Seriously.
Sell me this pen.
No, I'm dead serious. Being a conservative,
Yeah.
how would you? They're gone. They're done, Adam. Because you used to be a Democrat, like the Bill Clinton Democrats and all that.
That's gone.
What the heck happened?
Do you want me to attempt to answer that? My answer is, they famously said that the MAGA sort of lost its way from the old establishment, and then the counter argument is, well, the Democratic Party has lost their mind. And in my opinion, it's this: their entire identity was framed that anti-Trump, anti-Trump, anti-Trump. They had no unifying message, and you can see it in the approval ratings. Nobody likes Democrat. Democrats are not cool.
How are they winning
Democrat
then?
used to be the cool
How are
party.
they winning
So
these
here's
bill-
my point.
Yeah.
The Democratic Socialists had said, you know what? We need to actually run on something. We're going to run on open borders. We're going to run on transing your kids. We're going to run on wealth taxes. At least we stand for something. Now, what they stand for is certifiably insane and completely anti-American, and they are actually proudly anti-American. But at least they stand for something. They say if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. The Democratic establishment stands for nothing, and that's why they're getting overtaken, as Tom just said, by the DSA, because at least the DSA stands for something.
Yeah, and by the way, this is leading me to want to talk about the story of this movie next. I don't know why, but I'm going into this movie.
Okay.
Folks, if you haven't seen this, there's a movie that came out called Citizen Vigilante. By the way, it is at any given time on Apple. If you go on Apple right now, it's probably the number 2 or number 3 movie on Apple. I cannot even believe it. It's a $2-3 million budget movie, and it's with this guy named Armie Hammer. Armie tells a story about the fact that when the guy called him, the movie is produced by Uwe Boll. He said when he called him and he said, hey, we're going to be doing this movie. Are you in? The lawyer says, he wants you in the movie. What do you want to do? He says, tell him yes. He says, do you want to hear the number? He says, no, I don't care. Just tell him yes. He says, okay. I said yes. He says, what's the movie about? They go in and they start doing the movie. They're in Croatia shooting the movie. It's like, okay, let's go. Me, you, and a camera guy. Let's go. Let's shoot this. Let's shoot that. Let's shoot this. Do you know what the story is about?
Absolutely not.
It's a story about a guy who one day he goes into the market with his mother when he's a little boy. When he leaves, a man is walking. The city, they don't explain where it is, but it's probably depicting Europe and UK, London.
Okay.
A man shows up with a knife, stabs his mom in front of him in the neck. It's very gory. She bleeds to death in front of him, and this guy becomes a citizen vigilante.
Wow.
And he makes a video. He says, I'm doing this for you until you can learn to do it yourself. Vinny, there is a scene, and you can go to it. You just had it a minute ago. There is a scene that I can't show you.
Okay.
But it's this scene, this right here. This scene, he comes up, okay? And if you just see that boy, pause it right there. That boy, the actor in the movie, was one of the boys that raped a 15-year-old girl, him and his 7-8 friends, over and over and over. Muslim boy, okay? The mother posts something on social media saying she deserved it because of what she was wearing. She deserved what she got. The mother in this scene says that.
Okay.
He goes, meets the girl, this citizen vigilante, Armie Hammer. He goes, meets the girl. You can pause it right there. He goes, meets the girl and says, hey, that's the girl, the actress. He goes, meets the girl. Father opens the door. He says, hey, I just want to ask you, do you want justice? He says, the father's like, just leave us alone. You're probably with BBC. He says, I just want to ask you, do you want justice? The daughter shows up. She says, I want justice. I want justice. He says, that's all you have to say. You will get justice.
Wow.
He goes to the house, opens the door, goes to them, asks the boy to call the other 7 boys that raped the little girl, the 15-year-old girl, one by one, kills everybody in the family.
Wow. Everybody in the family.
The mom, the daughter, the dad, the son, and the 7 boys that show up one by one. There is a scene of the judge. The judge in the movie goes and says, there are 2 victims here. One is the girl that was raped by 7, 8 boys, but the other boys are also victims. Did you understand what happened? The other boys are the victims. He walks up to the judge. Don't play any of these clips because YouTube's probably not going to want this, so don't show any of this stuff. He walks up to the judge and says, hey, judge, did you, by the way, do this? Boom. Puts a needle in his neck, and it's heroin. Walks away, puts him in a car, drives him up. He says, by the way, you know what you did? You know you said this? Can you pull up the clip? I think you can actually pull up the clip of the judge in Citizen Vigilante.
I'm watching this.
You know what he does to the judge? He takes him out in another car, of course, kills the judge right there because the judge said they were victims just as much as the girl was the victim. There's a scene, Vinny, in this movie. This is the part, and I'm going to read it to you.
Okay.
Where the mother said she deserved to be raped. The mother said her son raped a girl, and he said, the mother said
because of what
she
was
deserved to be raped. Then she takes the social media post off. Mom posted on social she deserved to be raped and says, if you believe they deserve to be raped, why did you come here to this country? Why did you leave your country? I don't think it was good ones that got out of your country. I think it was bad ones. So he's talking about the bad Muslims got out of the country, not the good ones to Europe. This is an unfair takeover by Islamic extremists and the woke left. That's a line in the movie from him, Armie Hammer. You end this, or we, the people, end it ourselves. He's telling it to the judge. I do this until you learn to do it for yourself. By the way, I am telling you, the reason why this movie is getting so much traction is because that's exactly a lot of people feel right now in Europe. And my worry is, this is my worry. I'm telling you this right now. My worry is the average person is going to watch this movie and guess what they're going to do? They're going to be angry. They're going to be rage. Can you pull up that it's banned? What countries is it banned in? Just ask ChatGPT which countries is Citizen Vigilante movie banned in?
I think Germany's
one of them for sure.
And weird.
So you know what Elon did? Elon posted the entire movie for free on X for people to watch.
Wow.
Good for him.
It is everywhere for you to watch this. Yeah, right there. It's banned in where? Okay,
UK
released in
is
the U.S.
Not currently available.
Not current. I'm not surprised why it's not available.
Australia
Germany
either.
effectively banned. Not available in Australia. And then you got a bunch of other countries. Vinny, remember when I walked out of the movie Joker at 43rd minute?
Yeah.
I said, this is about like the Luigi Mangione stories, get inspired by movies like the Joker, where you go kill the capitalist. Yeah. I think this is the complete opposite, and I think it's going to succeed.
Really?
No.
Like it's going to, like the movie's going to blow up? Because I mean, if it's number one.
I think, the movie's going to inspire a lot of people to do this. I'm telling you right now, this is one of the darkest movies I've seen that's going to inspire actual vigilantes who are sick of it in Europe. Like, here's Tommy Robinson. I think this level of guys is going to show up.
Yeah.
Not Tommy. Because the next level guys are going to be like, okay, you want to do this? We'll take it ourselves. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We got it. You want to, like, back in the days in New York City when the mob would say, what did you do to one of our girls?
Yeah.
You did that? Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the cops.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the state. Don't worry about the federal. Worry about the Gambino family. Mm-hmm. Worry about, I think, that level of chaos has shown up to Europe. When you see this movie, you're going to, matter of fact, I want to watch it with you.
Let's do it.
Because I want to see your reaction. When you watch it, you're going to see what it does to you. You're going to see what it does to you. It's a very, very, and the reason why this is happening because millions of people are absolutely sick of these guys being protected of raping innocent girls, and they have to sit there and say, well, it's your fault. Go figure it out for yourself with that Rupert gang rape report that came up with,
Yeah.
the girl Sammy that was talking about it. So anyways, I recommend you to watch it. I don't recommend you watch it with your kids. I recommend you watch it by yourself because you're going to be enraged and you're going to say, if only 50 people watch this that have nothing to lose, they're going to do some shit.
Well, Pat, if you think about it, if you have, it makes a kind of a reference of the time that the mother called the police and the police go, oh, your daughter was raped. You should just be happy that they're sharing their culture with you. That's in the report. And then my question is, at what point, and I mentioned it on last week's podcast, at what point 250,000 girls raped, tortured, tongues nailed to a wall, some killed. If your government is ignoring it all the way to the top to the Keir Starmers because they don't want to be held racist, at what point do the citizens have to say enough is enough? And I'm not saying go do the Army Hammer version in the movie, but it has to be the people. It has to be the people.
By the way, who was the guy that made the movie? Can you go back to the guy? Who's the guy? Who's Uwe Boll? Have you guys heard about this guy or no? So this guy is who? German filmmaker. He's a German filmmaker. Oh, so meaning he's a true believer of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
He came to prominence during 2000s for adaptation of video game franchise of films. Alone, dark adaptations. It's considered one of the worst films ever made. So Boll's subsequent projects, 2010 released video Rampage, and then therefore Citizen Vigilante gained attention and controversy after it was refused certification in Germany. Go a little bit lower on this guy's story. This guy's story, Boll's first two major. Let me tell you, this movie was made by somebody that truly believes in the movie that he made because it's that risky of a movie to make. This guy knew he made this movie, how risky it was when he made this movie.
When did he write it, Pat? Do you know when it was done?
I have no idea when he wrote it. This is the type of movie that you remember American History X?
Of course.
Okay, remember that one scene? I mean, some of these movies will inspire young scene with the put your jaw on the corner of the street. Some of these movies are going to inspire the wrong people to do something with it. This is not a regular movie.
And you know why I was asking, Pat? Because it hit me. Because obviously it's going to be banned in Germany. He's actually one of these people that cares. Because remember in 2020, Tom, the Park gang rape where 9 men were convicted of raping a 15-year-old girl. They kept calling people and
Central
coming.
Park?
Yeah, and Pat, all of them basically got away with it. And guess who got arrested? The lady that went on WhatsApp and found one of the rapists and was like, shame on you and blah, blah, blah. They went after her. Do you remember that?
Of course.
So you remember that? So I'm good for him. Maybe that story inspired him to write something like this. Good for him. Good.
By the way, Dominic Tarczynski posted it on his Instagram. If you go to Dominic Tarczynski's Instagram, you'll see what he posted on his own Instagram. And, he is from Poland. And, Poland has the lowest rape percentage in all of Europe, lowest unemployment, lowest all of that. Yeah, he posted on his Instagram this picture, Citizen Vigilante, and he put his own face in it. Instagram, guys. You keep going to X. I keep saying Instagram, not X, Instagram. Yeah, Citizen Vigilante put his picture on it.
PBD.
Yeah. What happened?
No, I just want to ask you a question.
Go for it.
Yeah. So this concept of vigilante justice, we've seen it in the movies. We've seen, I think Taken.
Boondock Saints.
I think John Wick. I think it has some positive attributes, but also some negatives. Like you mentioned Luigi Mangione. Like he did what was perceived as vigilante justice. The Guardian Angels, the guy that ran in New York to basically cost New York the mayoral seat. But thoughts on vigilante justice? Good, bad, ugly. At the end of the day, when institutions fail and they don't basically implement what people want,
let me tell
this
you,
is what happens. But there is a slippery slope to it.
It is. And let me tell you, because, no, for sure, like, I asked a very specific question. Like, I asked I don't even want to say what I asked my son. I said, if somebody did something to me, how would you do it? What would you do?
Yeah.
And it's like to say, and I wanted to see what he was going to say. I said, you can't go full because everyone's going to be hurt from it.
Never go full.
No. What I mean by full, like to go and want to retaliate at what level? Because people are negatively impacted by you doing something like that. But I'm telling you, the reason why this guy could do that, he had no relationship with his father. He never even had any relationship with his father. His father sent him to boarding school and never even followed up with him. Ends up becoming a billionaire. He's very wealthy in the what do you call it? In the movie. There's a scene in the movie where he's like, Yes, sir. So 10% of our people that pay rent our apartments, they don't pay the rent. And he says, okay, get rid of them. He says, no, we can't get rid of them because the law says, so how long does it take to get rid of them? Well, it's about 7 months. He says, so let me get this straight. For 7 months, they're not going to pay the rent? He says, yeah, 7 months, they don't pay the rent. What do you mean they don't pay the rent? He says, because the law states that they don't pay the rent for 7 months. He says, give me the list of all the names of people that don't pay the rent. Trust me, I'm going to go kick them out of our apartment. I don't care what the law says. He says, you're going to be facing a lawsuit with that. He says, that's okay. That's my problem. The guy literally has nothing to look forward to. Yes. No kids, no wife, nothing. There's a very nasty scene. That's why I said don't watch it with your kids, where he goes and gets a prostitute, and it's like pretty much soft porn is what happens. And it's nasty, and it's a long time. And you're going to be like, what is wrong with this guy? Guys like this exist.
Of course they do.
They exist.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, you want to do this to my country? Watch what I'm going to do to you. I'm going to take it. And so they bring a guy that works for the state that's trying to stop him from doing what he's doing. And he becomes the villain in the movie, but he's representing the government. This guy goes into the hospital to meet a girl and asks her, you want justice? And she eventually says, I do. Says, don't worry about it. I'll take care of justice. And he goes. Yeah. Then the other guy that's with the state shows up to seek justice. And she thinks it's the same guy. And the moment she realizes it's the state that came to want to arrest the other guy, she said, oh, you were just here a couple days ago. I told you I want to seek justice. He says, no, I wasn't. I'm not. He says, no, it was probably one of your colleagues. What?
Oh,
and he says, who would tell me about him? And he starts saying, he was short. He was Middle Eastern. She makes up a character because she knows
what's happening.
The state is trying to stop the citizen vigilante.
So is Armie Hammer the good guy or the bad guy in the movie?
He's a vigilante.
But
that's my point.
No, but he is a bad guy that you support because he's willing to do what the government isn't doing.
So he's a good guy who has to do bad things.
Yeah, by the way,
can I say
it is a very complicated movie.
No, and ultimately my point is
very complicated. And sometimes you talk about movies because they're this complicated, super complicated.
Yes, and you know how they say that sometimes art imitates life and life imitates art.
I think this is going to happen.
This might be based on a real story.
I think this is about to happen.
That's my point. And here's my final point. How many years do you think Europe is ahead of the United States in terms of this type of vigilante?
Let me tell you what people are saying about this. They're saying this is an Islamophobic movie. You're going to, by the way, mark my word, someone like this is going to wake up and go around doing this, killing the rapists, and you're going to see people on the left, the woke left, Islamists, all those guys that say Islamophobic, they're going to say this movie is the reason why that happened. It's going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months. Just remember when I said this to you.
I don't disagree. By the way, there was a show called Dexter, if you remember that, Vigilante Justice. He would go after criminals, take them down, bring them into like basically a room and do what he had to do.
This is a very complicated
But Dexter was a good guy that had to do bad things.
But you asked, like, what did the people think of the movie? It's split right down the middle. If you think about this, if you are a parent of a girl that was raped, tortured, or potentially killed, and from all the way to the top, from the Keir Starmers, covered it up and said, if you say anything, we're going to say that you're racist and ban you, they're going to love this movie. But if you're the Muslim side and you're like, maybe a family member that was involved in the Pakistani rape gang, guess what? It's Islamophobic, period.
This we've seen this before. 1974, there was a movie I loved. And I'll say this, I loved it. As a young man, I loved it. It was Death Wish with Charles Bronson. And it was the story of an architect minding his own business, a home invasion. They kill his wife. They raped his daughter. She ends up traumatized. The daughter survives. And in an institution. He suddenly has no life and nothing around him. At the funeral for the wife, leaving it in the evening, muggers attack him. He was able to fight them off. But then he becomes the vigilante just like this. Toward the end of the movie, the police are figuring out who it was because they did process of elimination. Was there who's been a victim of violent crime? And they zone in on him. And the police chief at the end, Pat, at the end of Death Wish, goes to see him and he says, I know it's you, but we're not going to arrest you. Why? Because crime is down all over the city.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to know it's you. I just want you to leave New York.
Yeah.
And he goes to
like Batman.
And then he moves, the end of the movie, he moves to Chicago. But the whole point
They could use him in Chicago this time.
The whole point, and by the way, Pat, do you know who did this movie? Not some boutique guy. This was done in the 70s when all the crime was in New York and 42nd Street was just peep shows and all the stuff and the smut that we heard about. It was Dino De Laurentiis.
Dino De Laurentiis.
Who's that?
You're talking, he's
Great director,
a very director who was very left. But he did this movie, and people were concerned back then. But the whole point of it was, if the city, the state, the authorities don't do what's right and people take it into their own hands, does eventually evil get concerned and pull back? Because the police chief says, yeah, we don't want this to get out. We just want you to leave New York.
And they didn't arrest him.
Yeah, by the way, he was asked. He was asked about the movie, and he said Germany refused to give it a rating. Citizen vigilante action thriller described as a modern-day riff on Death Wish. Director Uwe Boll said it was a deliberate censorship decision. I hired a lawyer to complain about it, but we lost in a 6-2 vote, as I was told that the film was inciting violence against migrants. And before any of you bedwetting loony lefty turns to me and says I'm inciting hatred, no, it's a film inspired by huge political failures that have absolutely nothing to do with me, that I take absolute no responsibility for. I do not condone violence against any innocent people ever.
Good.
This is what he said. So, folks, again, watch the movie, not with your kids. Just go watch it by yourself, and then you'll see why. And tell me once you finish, send me a minute when you watch a movie. I want to hear your thoughts about this movie. Very, very interesting. Very rarely do you see me watch a movie that gets me thinking this way. This was one of those movies that we're going to continue to talk about. The moment you watch it, Vinny, our conversations are going to start. You'll see why.
Okay.
You'll see
Citizen Vigilante.
Citizen Vigilante,
Gotcha.
Army Hammer. Citizen Vigilante, Army Hammer. It's a must-watch movie. Must-watch movie. Okay, let me get to the next story here. Next story here, very different. Uruguay loses. This is a country that's historically been very good in the World Cup. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this story. I'm just going to go to Tom on this one, and if there's short thoughts, we'll get into it. Uruguay Federation reportedly cancels charter flight home, has players fly commercial after elimination. Can you imagine the country's like, hey, you guys were embarrassing. Go get a freaking coach seat for yourself. The ugliness of Uruguay's 2026 World Cup elimination apparently goes beyond the field. The AUF, Uruguay Soccer Federation, has canceled the charter flight, take players from their base camp in Mexico back to their capital city, Montevideo, according to Uruguayan broadcaster Tenfield. Players have instead been left to take commercial flights either home or to vacations with their families. Uruguay's World Cup campaign officially ended on Friday with a 1-0 loss to Spain, which allowed Cape Verde to advance to the knockout rounds and one of the most shocking group results in the history of the tournament. It is a mortifying result for a squad overwhelmingly favored to advance over Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia. Embarrassing is what a lot of people would say. Embarrassing. Tom, how extreme you think this is? Does it make sense? Do Americans watch this and say that's not fair and they don't understand that soccer's a religion in some other countries?
That's exactly right. Some people look at this and say it's just a soccer game. Other people look at it and go, wait a minute, why penalize all the players? Isn't there a coach that's supposed to be motivating, setting strategy, and doing all this? What's up with that? Well, I think people need to look at CV, Cape Verde, and look at that. There are 30,000 more people in Miami than are in Cape Verde. And the GDP is $3.1 billion. And you have Uruguay, a small nation. This is their moment. This is where they can shine. This is where it could happen. And the national pride is so great to see them not make it to the elimination round. As they say, we're going to make it out of group, and then let's see who we line up against, and let's see if we get a good draw. And I understand the feeling that the people have there, but these players, they're players. You know, they're players, they're citizens. They had a bad match. Do you lose sight that this is a game, even though you've got the backdrop of what it means so much to Uruguay, a small country, and that this is your time to shine? You know, I can understand it, but I mean, come on. I mean, if anything, Pat, I would have had the coaches fly coach. The team can come home, but the coaches, you're flying on a different plane. But I think it's kind of sad. I think it's very sad. And did every player on that team have a bad game?
By the way, this is the coach.
Did everyone?
Watch the coach. Did you see this clip? Go ahead and play this clip. Go for it. He knows he's getting a coach flight.
Literally, coach flight.
He's upset at the journalist.
He's
This
pissed.
thing got 12 million
Marcelo,
views.
bueno, ¿qué
Just on
deja
this
como
clip.
resultado de lo que fue este proceso de Uruguay en el Mundial?
Bueno, yo no logré potenciar el poderío que tenía Uruguay en sus jugadores.
¿Qué buscó con la salida de Federico Valverde cuando ingresó Viñas?
Busqué que el
You can
equipo
pause it right
tuviera
there. I
más.
mean, this is emotional stuff with World Cup. You're representing your country, so.
You know what? Good. You know what I mean? You don't get rewarded for failure. The freaking for 4 years they're waiting. They're waiting for you. Like, by the way, you think I'm gonna feel bad? These guys are deca millionaires. We went to go watch Ronaldo play against Colombia. I was looking at the field. I go, bro, we're sitting here watching. Oh, he's a billionaire, isn't he?
He is.
We're watching billionaires, and I'm like, oh no, don't feel bad for them. But they're gonna be fine. Flying commercial with everybody else. Hopefully one of them or two of them have a baby next to them. But the fans, think about the fans. You flew, Pat, you flew from Uruguay. You've saved all your money. You've come here, hard armed. You spent merch and everything. And you show up and they get bounced. Oh, you're going to be, at least, listen, they're not playing for Saddam Hussein's son. I mentioned this. Guys, Uday Hussein was in charge of the national soccer team. If they played bad, there was a special room in the basement of the freaking stadium. He'd hang your feet. You'd be hanging upside down, and he would have your feet beaten underneath your feet, okay, and tortured for bad performances. Flying commercial isn't a human rights violation. You want a private jet, you earn it, okay? Period. I'm not mad at it. Oh, they have to sit on a commercial?
I mean, you know,
You're a millionaire.
1994 World Cup, Colombia, the guy that scored the goal on his own country. You know what happened to him when it got, but Pablo Escobar took his life.
Oh, yeah.
Right when he got off the plane at home.
Oh, yeah, he was like done.
Yeah.
So at least Uruguay is more friendly.
Yeah,
Well,
sit next to a
Uruguay is
baby.
more friendly. And, you know, again, remember, this is a country that has always been fairly competitive at what they've done. So we'll see what happened here.
I'll just give it real quick. By the way, there's a bigger story here, and it's basically over-promising and under-delivering. They were supposed to be good. We have a thing here at Valuetainment where it's like, do you meet expectations? Do you exceed expectations? Or are you lower than expectations? At the end of the day, they did not meet expectations. And if you do not meet expectations, and you're over-promising that you're going to win the World Cup, and you get bounced in the first round, you might be having to walk home to Paraguay at this point. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Walk and swim.
At the end of the thing, the last point is, you know, from the Bronx Hill, they
You
said
said
it's
short.
okay. That's it. That's it. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there.
So I said I don't want to spend a lot of time on that.
Now you just can't leave.
All right, so
Do better.
U.S. strikes Iran in response to attack on ships. The U.S. struck Iran on Friday in response to a drone attack a day earlier on a cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. It's the most significant test yet to an interim understanding reached a week ago by the two countries to begin working to end their months-long war. So, Tom, what happened here with Iran? The moment you think they have a deal, there's a back and forth. What happened here, Tom?
Apparently, so there are two sides of the Strait of Hormuz. You have, and we've seen the maps, right? You have the traditional lanes that go very close to, you know, right there, Strait of Hormuz. You have the northern lanes that go close to an island. There's an island that looks like a little shark. You know, if you see it there, up at the tip. And that's where they're supposed to be going. That's, what's the name of that island? Lars or something like that? Anyway, if we had a map that I could actually see. And then where they don't want them, see the next one down, guys? See the map there? X. They don't want the shipping lanes to go close to Oman. They do not want them to go there. They want them to take the northern routes because what they want to do is they want to charge them tolls and things. Well, Iran got upset, and so they sent this drone off and hit the ship, and then Trump flips out, and for the 18th time says, you're going to bed without ice cream, and says, you know, what are you doing? You're crazy. I'm going to take actions against you. And so he did. He went after, apparently, they tracked one of the drone launching locations, Pat, and that was a very specific location that the U.S. went and bombed. Oh, you appear to have launched drones from here. Ba-boom. So they hit that and some other military targets, and then everybody says, okay, we're not talking, and now supposedly they're going to get together in Doha tomorrow, the next day, and we're going to talk. But what happened was Iran really wants everybody to take the shipping lanes closest to them because they want to do the toll and they want to charge them. But the secondary route has been made possible because for the past month and a half, the U.S. and the Brits cleared the mines on the route that's on the southern lanes closer to Oman. But Iran doesn't want them to go down there. They want them to go up here so they can charge them. And so, bing, and then Trump said, bam.
Yeah, and it was after 4 o'clock they did that when the market was closed. So they wanted and people are like, I can't believe they're doing it after the market closed. Listen, he's intentional, he's strategic.
What
He
they
doesn't want
always
the market
do.
to be affected by it. Adam, your thoughts on this?
Oil's
story?
only 70, so the market's not really reacting this morning.
Well, I'm just going to put myself in each of these people's shoes. So if I'm Iran, I have what's called pump fake diplomacy. Like you're talking about the NBA. All they're doing is faking. They're delaying, and they're just basically trying to wait out Trump, and they're going to try to basically see what happens in 2028. Trump wanted a nice marketing ploy, this memorandum of understanding. He did it. I said this on the when we landed in D.C. When we're going to UFC, I go, I really hope that Trump doesn't try to do this deal in honor of the UFC, the 250. I know you said June 14th, his birthday. It's because he tried to put lipstick on a pig. At the end of the day, they were never going to honor this. So, Douglas Murray said something great. He said, the IRGC is worried about the end of times. Trump is worried about midterms. So there's totally different ideology here. Trump's basically trying to ease economic the situation, get the oil price lower, oil, shipping, energy, markets, and all that, basically deal with that. Iran is like, yeah, we're ready for the 12th Imam and ready for the 72 virgins for the end of times. How do you beat somebody who's willing to kill their own people? That's the IRGC, and I wish them best of luck.
Benny.
Patrick, I have nothing to add at the juncture of this conversation. So we can just keep
All
going.
right.
See how that worked?
Yeah,
Let's
great.
Let's go.
It's very easy. Yeah. So, I mean, look, the reality of it is the more that happens, the more it validates that they really don't want a deal.
They don't.
They want to drag this thing out, and they want to continue doing that. And I don't know. I think if this continues, they may corner Trump. You think it's going to get to a point that Trump's going to actually have a heavy attack on Iran? Like a heavy attack on Iran?
I think after the midterms, yes, I think so. By the way, I watched your conversation you sent to me. It was a 45-minute conversation with Mario Nafal.
Yeah.
I love the way that you basically broke that down. And at the end of the day, I think you have people who are rooting for the IRGC to win, that want America to lose, that want to see America and Trump end up with egg on their face. And at the end of the day, Trump's not going to let that happen.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens there with that story. Let me get to the next one here. Israel has decided to recognize the Armenian genocide. I don't know if you guys saw the story or not. It just came out yesterday. If you have that article to just go to on this story, there was a story that was sent to me here. I'll just get it on my phone. There was a story that was sent to me yesterday about, is that the one? Israel government votes to recognize Armenian genocide. If you can go a little bit lower, Turkey is guilty of genocide. The government of Israel unanimously approved Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar's proposal to recognize the Armenian genocide. It's never too late to do the right thing, he said in a statement. He announced on Thursday that he would submit the resolution on the cabinet, tweeting, recognizing the genocide perpetrated against the Armenian people. It was also Syrians and the Greeks. The final years of the Ottoman Empire is both a moral and historical duty. We must also firmly condemn any denial, minimization, or distortion of the historical truth. The resolution will subsequently be brought before the Knesset. And if you go a little bit lower, it says in August of 2025, BB, for the first time, publicly recognized the Armenian genocide. Asked by American podcaster Patrick Bet-David why Jerusalem has yet recognized the genocide, Netanyahu said, in fact, I think we have. I think the Knesset passed a resolution to the effect. On August 1st, 2016, lawmakers, Knesset Education, Culture, Sports Committee resolution that recognized the genocide, urging the government to acknowledge it as such. If you can go a little bit lower, he says, pressed on why no prime minister has publicly characterized the World War I era events as genocide. Netanyahu said, I just did. Here you go. And happened right here, by the way, on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, I know that guy.
good for them for doing this. So, Adam, your thoughts on the story?
Well, it's about time. I think.
Is that it? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
One challenge I personally have. My audience is not going to be that interested in this story except for people from my community. The Holocaust has been recognized by 193 different countries. You see how long it is? Guys, everybody is it a around the 2-minute world. Clip? And in some countries, if you
minute.
deny,
Oh, no, he
you
answers
could do
it right
jail
away.
time. Many countries, you can do jail time a year or 5 years. But for anybody that doesn't recognize Armenian Assyrian genocide, if there's any country that I would have expected to be on the list that recognized the Armenian and the Assyrian and the Greek genocide, it would be Israel. Why haven't you yet recognized the Armenian, Assyrian, and the Greek genocide that the Turkish did to that community?
In fact, I think we have, because I think the Knesset passed a resolution to that effect.
I don't know if it's come from you, though. I don't know if it's come from the Prime Minister of Israel.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
Here you go.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that. Okay, you can pause that. So that happened, and, now they're making it official. It's going to be a big deal because, what happened to them, and they're now acknowledging it, which is a big deal. But go ahead, Adam.
Yeah.
You're going to say something.
Well, if I can just be as real as possible, I remember when he said that, we were sitting here in the studio, and once he said that, we went ballistic. Like, we were so happy that he acknowledged that because, look, we all have our biases and our interests. It's not a secret that you're a very proud Assyrian Armenian born in Iran, made in America. And when you were interviewing Bibi, you actually said, listen, I have one major interest. It actually is not Gaza. It's not America. I want to ask him that question. And you did. And he answered it. One of the worst things that's ever happened is basically whitewashing what happened in World War I. We all are so focused on World War II. And as a Jew, as someone whose family basically had to flee the pogroms in Russia and ended up in Europe, and then I had family die in the Holocaust, that means a lot to me. But I understand what it means to you. I remember seeing, I think you might even sent me this. The Ottoman Empire was responsible for millions and millions and millions of deaths, and nobody ever talks about it. And if that's something that happened to my people, damn right I'd be screaming from the mountaintop saying what's going on here. Yes. Is it too little, too late? Maybe, but it's better late than never.
If you look at this, look at the Syrian flag, Vinny. 10,000, 1850. 3,500, 1892. 750,000 Mesopotamia, 1915 to 1920. If you go to Armenia, Bayezid, 1870 to 1400, then 1250. Then you got Van, 8,000, 12,000, 5640, Sassoon, again, 30,000. Western Armenia, 1.5 million. Kars, 100,000. 50,000. Then you have the Greeks. Look what you see with Greeks, 50,000, 87. There's others as well, by the way, there. So it's not like forgetting Bulgaria or any other guys. You typically hear about Greece and Armenians and Assyrians and what happened there. So nasty set of events.
You know how they say when you point, you usually have three fingers pointing back at you? Whatever the Ottoman Empire stood for and what Erdogan stands for now, accusing Israel of genocide is like your country has taken out millions and millions of people and you don't want to acknowledge it. By the way, do you know the first U.S. president to acknowledge this was Joe Biden, one of the few things he actually did that I give him credit for. But it's a tricky, tricky thing. And we have a very complicated relationship with Turkey, the former Ottoman Empire. So does Israel. But at this point, Erdogan has gone full jihadist, and good for Israel for standing up for what's actually right.
Yeah, good for them for doing this. Okay, let's go to the next story. Next story I want to get to is Mandani says a socialist can win anywhere. I don't know if you guys have seen this clip or not, but this is very important because 2028 is around the corner, midterms are around the corner, and this guy's voice is getting bigger and bigger, and he showed this weekend that he also knows how to swim in a suit, which is impressive because clothes gets wet. But here's him saying a socialist can win anywhere. Go for it.
Democratic socialists get elected president?
I think a democratic socialist can get elected anywhere across this country for any position. What I think we need to bring is a focus on working people.
And that's the direction that the party should go in terms of selecting a candidate for 2028.
I think the direction that the party should go in is how best to fight for working people. I think we need to have a platform and a vision that doesn't sound as if it was cooked up by consultants, but instead one that you would say in response to someone who's asking, why can't I afford my rent? Why can't I afford my groceries? Why can't I afford my childcare? We need to make clear who we stand for, how we're going to stand for them, and that we're actually willing to fight for them when the going gets tough.
So good. You got to give him credit how good he is.
Pat, him, Gavin, Obama, it's all
He's better than Gavin.
Oh, 100%.
He's better than Gavin.
100%. But this is like the Manchurian candidate. And every time I hear him speak, I'm like, are you guys really getting sold on this guy? I mean, it's obviously it's working in New York, promising all the free stuff, Pat, but is it insane? Is it insane? And Pat, it's working, Tom. They've hijacked the party. The party has literally bent the knee. And then he's doing the rent freeze. He approved 1 million rent stabilized in New York as well.
Yes, but I don't think that if I can correct you on one thing.
Okay.
You said the party has bent the knee. I don't think so. I think what's happening in the Democrat Party is they mistook what they thought was his ability to bring a voting block. Because remember, everything in the Democrat, if you take a look at the Democrat platform, and help me, Adam, you see victims, list the victim, define the victim, and then manipulate the voting block based on the perpetuation of that victimhood, right? And so, trans, add another letter, LGBTQIA plus, right? What that is nothing more is identifying other victims and using those to create an establishment of voting blocks that you get under what you call a big tent. What he says about consultants, he's right. The consultants are the ones that have talked about for 40 years exactly what I just said. Find the victim, find the voting block, make it a bigger tent, and go get you. And then this is why Schumer and them, they thought they were bringing over Hispanic voters. It was going to be mostly Hispanic. Schumer's words, we're bringing over mostly Hispanics that are going to be laborers. We're going to give them access to things, and it's going to perpetuate our voting block. That's what they were out to do. Well, so that they didn't bend the knee. They thought things like, they honestly the core DNC did not believe that Minneapolis was going to get out of hand like this. They did not believe that. Now they're looking at it too, saying they don't have control. The DNC does not have control right now of Mandani and everything that goes there. That's it, man. They are the useful idiots. I said it before. I won't go in repeating, but that's what's happening. And you know what they just did? They just moved Gavin Newsom.
Yeah. I mean, the key to just smile, be smarmy and just smile, and you never know what's going to happen. The question was, can the Democratic Socialists win in America?
Can you go to what Trump said about this? Can you go to what Trump said about communism and how it's advancing and what it's doing? This guy's a brilliant marketer. You got to give it to him. But here's the president about the same issue. Go for it.
We have a country that's just the hottest. It just is so hot.
We're so hot right now,
Zoolander.
Zoolander.
Really hard to make it even better. We're going to get rid of some of the flaws. We're going to make it even better. But the biggest thing we have to do is we have to stop this horrible thread of cancer that's permeating our country called communism. We have to stop it because that's what it's about. That's what they want to do quietly. And we ask that God will continue to bless the United States of America, and God will bless the United States of America because of people like you.
Tom.
He's right. And I am on this, and I have said, and I will keep saying, it's not, I mentioned the Democratic Socialists, I'm describing what they do, but the underlying effort is the eradication of the middle class to create the workers and the few elite. That is how communism works. Socialism, communism, socialism walks in the front door. Actually, communism walks in the front door wearing a disguise as socialism. Oh, we're here to help you. We're here to help the workers.
Thank you.
You've been so
Working
disenfranchised.
people.
There shouldn't be trillionaires. Can you please draw me a map of how elimination of a trillionaire gets me a better job and a middle-class life and a better wage? Can you tell me how that happens? If the voters ask that, they're going to realize they're being sold a bill of goods. He's right. He is absolutely right. And the anything but Trump that's out there is just missing the point about how right he is. They want no middle class, workers right here, fully controlled by a small oligarch. Ladies and gentlemen, and there's Ollie.
This guy, by the way, you can say whatever you want about this guy. This guy's not going away.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not going away, and he's going to be a big part of the midterms and 2028. Candidates are going to be begging him to come campaign for him. But and FYI, right now, if you had to choose between having Obama show up or Mandani show up with the momentum, I would say Mandani's ahead right now.
People would rather
Mandani's
come
ahead
watch
than Obama for endorsement from a socialist. Socialist. This, to me, goes more back to that movie Citizen Vigilante. I'm not an investor in the movie. I have nothing going on. But you're going to get people to a point of being so sick of it that something's going to happen. And my concern is, every decade we have a big crisis that happens, and you never know what it is. Like, you didn't know COVID was going to happen.
No. Right. Black Swan
you didn't
event.
know 9/11 was going to happen.
Nope. Right.
You didn't know
recession.
Trump assassination attempt was going to happen. You didn't know 2008 market crash, except if your name is Michael Murray. You didn't know that was going to happen. You didn't know a lot of this stuff that was going to happen. And then all of a sudden it happens. I think as this thing goes more and more and more like this, as it goes more like this and socialism and communism starts becoming interesting topics that they want to bring up, you're going to have some people that are going to break. You're going to have some people that are going to break in America. And I think it's going to get nasty. I think I hope we don't get to that point. I really hope I don't. But this messaging is going to keep expanding, and they have to figure out one answer. You know what the answer to that one question is? Affordability. You have to find a way to address affordability. You have to find a way to say, I don't know, no federal income tax to anybody making less than $100,000. How are we going to do that? I don't know. But you have to figure out a way to say no federal income tax until 35 years old. Why? Get your life going.
Yeah.
Save the money. After 35 years old, you pay federal income tax. You have to propose some ideas that the youth says, okay, I'm going to get some kind of money to do additional things. How much taxes do we collect from under 35-year-olds? I'm curious. If we asked ChatGPT right now and said, how much total tax do we collect from people under the age of 35 in America in 2025? What do you think the number is? What percentage of the tax income we get is from people under the age of 35?
Percentage of the total
I would
tax,
say, I'm going to go 15%
10%.
because I know it's low. I would say 15%.
So a recent analysis from Tax Foundation estimates that taxpayers under the age of 35 amount for 11% of federal income taxes.
We were right there, Tom.
That's 10, 11%. So $2.1 trillion equals to about $235 billion. Dude, if you announce something to say no one under the age of 35 pays federal income tax till you're 35, it's like somebody that gives you a head start. You have to get these people to buy houses and have kids, and that 1.58 needs to increase, and these decisions happen before 35. So if they come up with the idea before you do, they're going to get it. If they get the ideas before you do, they're going to get it. We have to figure out some kind of we got to get some of the best economists in the house, the laughers, the old school people that came from the Friedman camp, the Sowell camp, and then sit down and say, can we afford to do no federal income tax for people under the age of 35? If you're under 30, you buy a house for the first time, you don't pay taxes on the first $500,000, okay? And whatever, certain federal. There's got to be some creative ways to win the affordability argument. I hope they're sitting behind closed doors at the White House thinking about what ideas to give the youth. You win the youth over now, you have their vote for 20 years.
Yep.
They got to find a way to do it. So to me, the only way socialism and communism makes a comeback is when you don't go out there and take care of the kids. And those guys got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
The 50-year-olds have a lot to lose. The 60-years have a lot to lose. The 40-years have a lot to lose. 22-years don't have a lot to lose.
And what you just said, that would be they're paying $235 billion in taxes. You know what that would be? That would be in their pockets being spent in the economy.
Go for it. I'm okay. The money's going to come back into the economy anyways.
Yeah.
And I would much rather the money go into the free market than these entitlement programs. Let them keep it. Under the age of 35, no taxes. Keep your money. Set yourself up. Go buy a house. Create some incentives for them. But Republicans have to pay attention to affordability. And this is going to lead to me making a big announcement here in a second about something that has to do with the state of Florida, but hang tight for that.
Those struck a nerve. And now we know through all what we found in California with the hospices and the daycare centers in Minneapolis, guess what? Doge was on track. If we could get rid of all of that and all of that graft and then turn this back over to the citizens to pay, I think we have the money, Pat.
Why did it stop? Why did all the Doge, all of a sudden we just stopped doing it? It was working. We were getting back billions of dollars, and then it just stopped. What happened? What happened to the Doge? It was doing fantastic. They had
we know what happened. There was a relational breakdown, and then the department got canned. And Washington, D.C. rejected, forget whether there was any sort of rift, personality. Washington, D.C. rejected the notion of an audit over fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah, weird.
I fully agree with you that we have to get creative on affordability and the cost of living and inflation, and we have to basically galvanize the youth to understand the importance of basically getting involved in politics. You know, they famously say you might not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you. But the question was, can Democratic Socialists win at the ballot box in 2028? And I have a hard time believing that. I'll tell you why. Yes, they can win in deep blue pockets in Brooklyn and in Dumbo and in Williamsburg or in LA. But to win a national election, you know what? The one thing you have to have American pride and you have to have patriotism. And the Democratic Party, the DNC, the DSA does not love the flag. The lady that was just elected in Brooklyn just said that she wiped her dirty hands on the flag because she didn't have a napkin. At the end of the day, we're talking about a national electorate. Two people are going to stand up on stage and say, I love America and I want to make America greater. And a deep percentage of the DSA hates America.
They will do it. They will do it. Did you see what the guy yesterday said from Texas supporting James Tallarico? I don't know if you guys saw this clip or not with the cowboy hat on, Hispanic-looking guy. Did you guys see this? So he gets up and he says, if they say that James Tallarico is a trans-hating this, is a trans-loving this, guess what you say? So am I. If they say James Tallarico is going to hell, what do you say? So am I. You guys didn't see
No,
the
I didn't see
speech?
that.
Oh, you have to see the speech. You have to see the speech of this clip. It is they're gonna say anything and everything to get him elected. This guy right here, watch this. Good find, guys. That was quick. Great work. So can you play this clip and go for
They
it?
say that James is trans. We're all trans.
Watch.
What does that even
When
mean?
they say James is a gay tofu eating vegan, we're all gay tofu eating vegans.
Wait for it.
And when they say James is going to hell,
Watch.
we'll say we're all going to hell.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is the Democratic Party at
What
this
I'm
point.
trying
Just
to
play
say-
that ad.
They'll say everything. Adam, this is the one part you have to think about. Let me tell you, okay? When a mother has 3 kids and you're married to her, at the end of the day, even though you're the husband, guess what the mother thinks about 24/7?
Her kids.
Her kids.
Mama bear.
So if financially you're not supporting the kids, guess what she's going to do? She's going to do something. You have to know, because her number one job is what? Is to be a mom.
Yeah.
And I understand it's like, no, you have to submit to the husband and all. I totally get it. Most of the time, the first thing that comes is what? Finances. We got to get our finances in order. Do you know what happens if majority of America, affordability, gets worse the next 12, 24 months and you don't have a solution? Forget about it. And you have to show the solution now. The Republican Party has to show that they're for the youth and they don't have an answer for them. There's a lot of people right now in the Republican Party that are causing a divide within. There's some of that I don't know if you guys saw the clip with Alex, what's his name? That was on Tucker
Alex
Carlson.
Brusewitz.
What's his name?
Great. Alex Brusewitz.
We met him before. We met Alex before.
I saw him
Nice
at
guy,
UFC.
yeah.
He's a great guy.
Right.
He's a
So
cool
if you want
beard
to play
now.
this clip, Alex was on Tucker.
Yeah.
And I think he was one of the guests that pushed a little bit back on the Israel topic. If you have that clip, I don't see anything on the screen here, guys. I see black.
Yep.
Is this but this isn't the one. It's the other one that shows both. You know which one I'm talking about? It's the one that shows both. Is this the one that shows both clips? This is the one. Play this clip. Go for it. Watch this.
You were on a podcast yesterday. You said you think Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
I did not say that. I did not say that.
Okay, what was the clip then?
I said, I've never said that.
Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Yeah.
And he was not murdered for his opinions on transgenderism, obviously. He was, I believe, and most people who knew him well, as I did, and was friends with him as I was, believe he was most likely murdered for his evolving views on Israel.
I've never said that.
Okay.
I know a lot of people, including in the Trump administration, who think that. However, there's no proof of that.
He was, I believe, and most people who knew him well, as I did. And
So some of this, you know what this is doing? Like, I think this is noise. I think Tucker's playing with people, and I think Tucker wants to run or get behind somebody in 2028. That's okay. That's his motive. We're going to find – it takes a minute to learn people's motives. By the way, you know what's the great thing about life? You know, let's just say you don't like me. Let's just say some of you guys, like 10% of the audience that watches this podcast, say you hate us. Like, screw Pat. Let me tell you, you know, he got destroyed. He got this. I hate him. He's this. He's a Islam. Say you're part of that camp. Okay, great. And you have that opinion. You have the right to that opinion. You know when you're really going to realize who I am? You're going to learn the next 10, 20 years. It takes a minute to learn motives. Because in your mind, you're going to create something. Whoa, they're trying to do this. You'll find that in 10 to 20 years. It's going to take a minute. And some of us get fooled for a year or 2 or 3 years. And we're like, oh, got it. We don't know what the guy's motive is, okay, what he's doing. The Republican Party is a little bit confused right now, the youth that's watching all these different voices. You know what the youth need? They need a stable voice of who to listen to. They're the easiest to gaslight. They're the easiest to rage bait. They're the easiest to confuse. They're the easiest to pin against each other. They're the easiest to, you know, go out there. But the reality of it is, if you're my kid, if I'm watching somebody right now, somebody's 18 years old, 19 years old, and their mindset is consumed too much with politics. One of my favorite podcasts I did this year was with this Australian economist called Steve Keen. And let me tell you why. The first 30 minutes, at any point we were going to cancel the podcast, he or me, it was so heated. It was so heated. He was so upset that I said anything bad about Karl Marx and communism. You should have seen how we debated it.
Really?
But let me tell you what happened. Eventually we came around and we had some fun. It ended good, right? And what was interesting thing about this, Vinny, was the following. I said, would you consider yourself a pessimist or an optimist? He says, I'm a pessimist. You know why? I said, why? He says, because I know the facts. I said, really? You know the fact? I said, could there be a possibility that you're wrong? He says, no, I have facts. I know what's going to happen with climate change. I said, man, what is it with you? Like, did a American girl break your heart? He says, it's funny you say that. My second wife was an American singer. I said, how long were you guys together? He says, 2 years. Been married 3 times. So do you have any kids? No. If you were 25 years old right now, would you have a kid? Absolutely not, because I know what's going to happen with climate change. So he goes into the climate change argument. I said, great. I said, when were you an optimist? Vinny, watch this, Vinny. Parents, pay attention to the story. I said, when were you an optimist? He says, I'll tell you, I used to be an optimist. I said, what changed? He says, I wanted to be a professional tennis player. He said, I used to train 20 hours a week playing tennis. I said, what happened? He said, then at 20 years old at college, I was invited to a leftist event. And I was introduced to the book Das Kapital by Karl Marx. And he said, I didn't just read one book. I studied everything Karl Marx ever wrote. And he's the most brilliant economist of our lifetime. He says this.
Karl Marx.
I said, so what happened when you went to that leftist group? He says, well, the only regret I have is I stopped watching and practicing tennis 20 hours a week. I stopped doing any of that stuff. And for me, it led to not playing tennis, and I was involved in politics. I said, from there you became a pessimist? He says, right after me going to that meeting, I became a pessimist.
One meeting.
One meeting. He says, because I got the facts. What he's telling you, he thinks he's right. I said, man, do you regret that you lost decades of your life being a pessimist? He says, no, not at all. Not at all. I'm glad I went to that meeting. It changed my life because I got the fact. He's 73, 74 years old, Vinny, at this point.
When you looked into his eyes, you're an incredible judge of character, Pat. When he said he had no regrets, did you believe him?
No, I didn't believe him. No, actually, deep down inside, when I looked at him, you know what I saw? I saw a fun guy inside, cool guy that was an athlete, but then the leftist ideas got a hold of him.
Captured him.
Vinny, that virus is worse than AIDS. That virus is worse than a lot of these viruses. It's worse than COVID. When these ideas get into your, so what's my thoughts? If you're under 25 years old, you know how much of your time you should consume watching political videos? Less than 5%. You should watch Dan Martell. You should watch Alex Hormozy. You should watch Cody Sanchez. You should watch Valuetainment business content. You should watch Mr. Beast's interviews, not his clips, his interviews. Brilliant. You should watch these guys that are advancing in business. You should watch Billy Graham nonstop on repeat. Your heart should have a tender heart, some grace, toughness, but some grace. You should watch these business strategies to get your economy straight. That's what you should watch. Then when you're above 35, above 30 years old, start paying attention to politics a little bit more. It's become a little too cool for young kids to pay too much attention to politics, and their finances sucks. Get your finances straight first. Learn how to get your financial situation in the right place. Like a portfolio of what things you should consume. Some people are consuming 40, 50% of politics right now. Get it down to less than 5%. I'm even okay if you get it down to 1% and you replace it with business content, with self-help content. You're going to be better off with your mindset being consumed there. So to me, as I'm seeing this going on, Adam, and we're bringing up you not thinking socialism is going to happen, Mandani's too attractive. AOC is attractive. She's young, she's attractive, and her ideas are very attractive to the youth. If you don't, as the Republican Party, fix, and it's not hard to fix. I can eat, by the way, if I have an hour with the administration and we get some of the things in a room together, we'll come up with 12 ideas. You pick and choose which ones you want to run with, which ones you don't. But it's not a hard problem to fix. We can fix it, and you'll get them for 20 years. You will get them for 20 years. And the economy may even be better for everybody. We need people having kids and being more focused on their careers. We don't have that today. That's going to be an issue for the Republican Party, I think, the next 24 months. Huge. Yeah. I don't think it's something that you can take lightly and just be like, I don't think so. I don't think socialism is going to be impactful. The guy's charming. The guy's charismatic. The guy's a great communicator. You got to give him credit. He's super formidable. Super formidable. Super formidable. You have this is not a once in a decade type of a talent. This is a once in a lifetime type of talent. Just like Trump was. Just like Obama was, just like Clinton was. They don't come around that often. When they come around, you have to know change is coming around the corner.
Sure. The only difference is he's never done anything in his life. Trump has built businesses and buildings. People will fall for it.
If that kid, if that Steve Keen, when he was 20 years old, gave up his dream of being a professional tennis player just because of some leftist ideologies, took his life for 53 years, that can happen with anybody. That risk is worth realizing that we have to move a little bit more urgently.
what I think the challenge is, by the way, I fully agree with you. I understand that it's an attractive thing. I think men are going to realize that the Democratic Party is doing nothing for them. I think that the challenge is convincing women to stop just basically voting abortion first and actually want to have some kids. That's the biggest problem, is that the Democratic messaging, most straight men do not fall for this. We see that black men are like, dude, I'm on Trump team now. It's women who are falling for this because they don't want to build businesses. They don't want to basically live the American dream. They want to basically live off the government for free.
I am less concerned about the women, what they're going to do, because I know where they're going to be. Women need men to lead them.
I fully
agree. And if men are not making money, if they're not having jobs, if they don't feel good about themselves, they're not confident, they're not men. They're boys. We got to get boys to become men. We got to listen a little bit more to River Water Runs Dry. We got to listen to We Don't Even Talk Anymore. we got to go turn these boys to men. Is what we got to do. That's got to make a comeback. Anyways, let me get to the next
Down
story.
on bended knee, Pat.
Yeah, we're talking about down on bended knees. There's a commercial came out called HelloFresh.
Here we go.
You want to talk about down on bended knees? So tell us about this HelloFresh commercial and what this company thought was a good idea to do.
So they posted something on their Instagram, guys.
By the way, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. But Vinny, kids, earmuffs, parents, kids can't watch the next 5 minutes.
Pay attention. For you guys to know, HelloFresh, it's a food delivery service, meals, and all that type of stuff. They put out a statement basically telling gay men how to prepare, and earmuffs for the kids, for anal sex. They wrote, we know eating isn't always top priority this month. Do you know what that means? We know that you're not, if you're in that community, you don't want to eat that much because you don't want that much food in your stomach because you know what's going to happen. They say, we respect that. But for those of you who are ... prepping, I had to look this up, Pat. Do you guys know what priority prepping is?
No.
In context, prepping means cleaning out your bowels before guys do their business with guys.
Stop it.
And that's why they're promoting. Ready for the next line? We have an extensive lineup.
Vinny, stop.
Pat, I'm going to show you something different. Recipes available. Happy Pride. Okay? I'm not being, you should hear the comments and then go back to that. So, Pat, ready for this? Somebody put bottoms up as the Pride discount code. HelloFresh's official account responded saying that use bottoms up for a Pride Month discount.
Oh, okay. So now it's...
Okay, by the way, this is the same company, just FYI, if you guys don't remember, 2024, the Department of Labor investigated them for migrant children working at one of their package facilities. Put that aside. But this is HelloFresh, a food delivery company, saying, hey, we know you guys aren't eating that much, gay men, this month because we know that you're having sex. Okay, so we respect you for that. So before,
let me ask this:
that is disgusting.
But here's a part that I may not have, and I've never heard of HelloFresh. It may be a big company. Is HelloFresh only a gay delivery company, or
no, not at all. It's a
you know that?
I know that for a fact, Pat. The owner is a German guy, and there's two other people. CEO, I know it's a public company now, but look up CEO of HelloFresh.
Maybe HelloFresh is only delivers to gay people.
No, not at all. German multinational.
Based on this, you better start boycotting them, and they're only going to have a gay client.
7.1 million active customers worldwide as of 2022, and so areas served: Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United States, Western.
No. This is not a gay.
Okay, so to go back to this campaign. Was this a 19-year-old girl that's in college or fresh out of college, a 22-year-old girl that came up with this campaign that HelloFresh didn't support? No. Or is this coming from the top? Have they made an apology statement?
No, go to their Instagram. If you can, Connor, go to their actual Instagram page and go to this post. No, Pat. They're not. They were in the comments saying, we love it. Like, cook in the comments, okay? And here's my thing while he's looking it up. I don't care what they do in their personal life. It's that 13-year-old or whatever. Go to their, keep going. Look at this. No, they're doubling down. Go up. I'm sorry, go down, Connor. Keep going down. HelloFresh, boom. That's their eating is not already a priority, blah, blah, blah. And go into their comments. Go to the actual post. Left. No, right there. Yeah. And then their promo bombs up. No, they're not anti any of this, Pat. And then go to the other one that had the comments on it, Connor. It's the next one. They actually posted the photos on it. The one that I sent. But here's the thing. I don't care who owns HelloFresh or whatever in their personal life, Pat. This is a meal kit company, and you're turning marketing into a message about, again, anal sex, okay? You're supposed to be selling chicken parmesan, not promoting this type of sexual act, okay? Families buy your product. Kids see your social media. Kids are on social media, Pat. This isn't edgy. It's disgusting. Okay, sell food and stop shoving sexualized marketing.
I wonder how the market reacts to this, if they care or if they don't care. That's what I see.
Well, that's disgusting. I mean, it's still disgusting.
If the company has the right to do this, this is a weird campaign and it's a reach to go there. It's what Budweiser did with the whole Dylan Mulvaney and all this stuff, and they took how big of a hit did they take from that? Or Jaguar, that they didn't sell any of their cars. The best commercial of Jaguar I saw is you.
Yeah.
It wasn't even what they did. So bad things can happen to people when they come up with terrible ideas. You know, Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch lost billions because of Dylan Mulvaney. So they can fool around with this. I guess HelloFresh still hasn't gone there. The message that this doesn't work. It's a big turnoff. And honestly, I don't want to give this story too much time. I don't want to go to the next story.
Okay.
Next one I want to get to is what I'd actually like to talk about. Texas wants to make Bible passages cool again. Okay? This is page 12. Good for Texas, okay, on what they want to do. So here we go. Texas Education Board votes to make Bible passages required reading. Is this the clip that you have there? If you want to play it, go for it. Go ahead.
Millions of public school students in Texas will soon be required to read Bible passages along with classic works of literature and historic documents like the Declaration of Independence. The new reading list approved by the Texas State Board of Education is set to begin in 2030 and also includes Bible stories and picture books like Noah's Ark and the stories of Exodus and Adam and Eve for older students. It follows last year's required posting of the Ten Commandments, a move recently upheld in federal court.
The Education Board, which is controlled by Republicans, voted to pass a new required reading list on Friday. Vote 9-5 to 1. The list for required literature includes sections of the book Exodus for fifth graders, Shepherd Palm, a Psalm for seventh graders, and more. Board discussions about the required reading list took place on Friday morning and touched on issues related to the implementation timeline and question of teachers' autonomy in deciding which works should be required reading. And they added a couple other things to it. Approved required reading list, including E.B. White, Shel Silverstein, Aesop, Kurt Vonnegut, and a few other names. So, Tom, why is this a big deal? Why is this a big story?
Well, this is a big deal because something you just read in there is what was hiding. So, teachers, most of the time in public schools, I don't know the percent nationwide, are in unions. And the unions are there because they say, hey, we're going to get you a better wage, we're going to get you benefits, we're going to get you, better pension and all that. And so, what you just read, hiding in there, Pat, teachers' autonomy. The unions want teachers to have autonomy so they could rebel and they can inject things they want to. The school board is saying, no, we will set the curriculum. You, as an employee, unionized or not, your job is to teach what we select. You work for us. You're not a political activist in the classroom. That is the stance of Texas. And Texas last year pushed it all the way to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals on the Ten Commandments. As of September of last year, to start the school year, last year 2025, so we're getting close to it, that report correctly pointed out that the Ten Commandments are there. Because guess what? Teachers' unions and teachers looked at the Ten Commandments and they said, no, wait a minute. There's really two parts of Ten Commandments. One part says you won't commit adultery, steal, covet, lie, or kill. There's a bunch of things in there that are probably pretty good for citizens not to do. And then, wait, the one in the middle is honor your mother and father. Wait a minute, what's so religious or upsetting about honor your mom and dad, don't kill, don't steal, don't lie? And then, of course, there's no other God before me, don't make any idols, don't use my name in vain, and keep the Sabbath, which is, they viewed that as basically Jewish history, because it was the book of Exodus when Moses came off Mount Sinai. And remember, when Moses came off Mount Sinai, remember what he said? I got the guy down to 10, but adultery's still in there. Yeah. So it's like, that was, so in Texas, they got that on the wall because they recognize half of the Ten Commandments really was about good citizenry. Now they're coming out and saying there are some stories and there's some other things which we think are also historically relevant and culturally appropriate to build a strong, God-fearing populace.
And I want to read this because it's important, two different sides on what they say. Julie Pickren, a Republican member of the Texas Education Board, said the following to the Tribune, said, when students engage directly with original writing, speeches, sermons, and foundational texts, they can evaluate ideas and develop a deeper understanding of the principles that have shaped the USA and the Texas. Okay, great. Now, the complete opposite board member, Evelyn Brooks, was outspoken about this during the hearing, and she said this is unconstitutional. She said teachers need to have their autonomy, the word you just used, Tom. They've been selecting books for decades, for years. This is nothing new. This is not a new concept to teachers. We are simply giving them a mandated list, which I believe is unconstitutional. But regardless of what I believe in, let's not take their autonomy away.
That is the union word, autonomy, because if you give one teacher autonomy, Pat, then what does it matter if you are the chairman of the school board for public schools in the state of Texas? One teacher could decide, hey, you know what? Screw all this stuff. We're going to have this book on this book on that, and disrupt it. The liberals want the ability for one teacher to have the ability.
Not.
Exactly.
Absolutely not. No, who's paying you? Who's paying you? So who are you? Go start your own school and teach whatever you want and make your own money. Till that day, whoever pays you dictates the terms. Tom, Adam, thoughts?
Look, I firmly believe that having more God in your life is a good thing. I think having the Bible, the moral foundation, the cultural foundation of our country should not be shunned. It should be embraced. I think our schools have to get back to doing education, not indoctrination. How many gay books have we seen come across our desk here? You know, gender queer. This book is gay, a little on the nose right there. All boys aren't blue. All these books out there that are read in school, yet the 10 Commandments and the Bible is a problem? Not on my watch. At the end of the day, I think we need to return to God. I think Judeo-Christian values. And at the end of the day, Pledge of Allegiance. I was shocked to hear that the Pledge of Allegiance is not said in all schools these days. I thought it was completely mandatory. It's discretionary. The Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God. Let's return back to that. Let's return to normalcy. Let's get God back in our lives and this wokeness out of our lives.
Vinny.
I think it's a great move. How many decades we took God? Dude, if you think about the pattern, Tom, when they took God and the 10 Commandments and the just knowing about the Bible in schools, what happened? The decline. Look, have you seen what's happening in these schools? Like, honestly, the insanity, the people it's lawlessness. The kids are the amount of videos that I see about people that are just insane in school, and then we wonder why kids grow up with no moral foundation. 72 genders, Adam. You ask that's what you're teaching the children in school. It should be that.
Look, we believe that the children is the future. We know that.
Well, maybe teaching them about honesty
and
forgiveness and personal responsibility and love. We were found, like you said, bro, Christian. This is a Christian nation. Our founding fathers were Christians, Pat, I'm a huge fan of it. I don't think forcing anybody, but you could let them know about the greatest book in the history of books. And there's no, when people say this book is my favorite self-help book, the Bible is the best self-help book. Period. End of story.
Yeah, I like anytime. You're introduced to the principles that are taught from the Bible. Those values make the area a better place. They help the kids out. They teach the right values and principles, and I'm all for it. And by the way, it was one of the reasons why it was hard for us to leave Texas. Because the Texas Southern hospitality is something else. When you live in Texas, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, Florida has that as well. We live in a place where I can sell Florida all day long. When we came here, one of the things that was different in Florida than it was in Texas, the vaccine mandates? I thought in Texas you didn't have to get the vaccines. But our kids were going to a private school, and one day the school asked for a vaccine card. I said, what do you mean a vaccine card? Jennifer's like, yeah, vaccine card. That's the day when middle of the night I call RFK. He gets on a call, calls the board. He says, yep, that's kind of how it is in Texas. You know what Florida was?
What?
You choose. What do you want to do? No problem. No questions asked.
Great.
And one of the doctors is like, oh, if you don't, we don't see clients that don't want to take the vaccines. Jennifer's like, no problem. We went to the next doctor. The doctor's like, you just tell me what you want to do. You're the mom. Yeah, we don't want to take this. Okay, no problem. And what is the name they call it, Tom, that you waive it as a parent? Religious exemption. I think
right.
Religious exemption. And boom, no problem. So that's the part about Florida. But Texas Southern hospitality, faith and values being where it's at, I love that they got this going on. Let me get into the next story. Do you guys know what happens to Idaho officially July 1st?
No.
In one
Idaho?
day? Have you guys heard about what Idaho is going to be doing effective July 1st within
Let's
2
hear
days?
it.
Idaho.
As of July 1st.
Which is tomorrow, yeah?
Which is
it?
2 days. Today's 29th.
Today's 29th.
Effective July 1st. An Idaho law allows prosecutors to seek the death penalty for certain convictions involving sexual abuse of children 12 years or younger. It's not an automatic death sentence for every child rape conviction. However, Idaho passed a law making the firing squad the state's primary method of execution beginning July 1st of 2026.
Wow.
Making it the first state to designate the firing squad as the default execution method.
Wow.
This is Idaho.
Wow.
Okay, Idaho. Okay,
The firing squad.
People convicted of certain extreme offenses can face the state's harshest penalty using a method that does not depend on medical drugs or supplies. The legislation passed Idaho's House Bill 37 and 380 authorizes the use of the firing squad as a method of execution in cases where other means are unavailable or legally challenged. It represents a shift in how the state approaches capital punishment, driven in part by ongoing difficulties that many states have faced in obtaining the drugs required for lethal injection protocols. Idaho joins a small number of states that have turned to the firing squad as an alternative method. Proponents describe as more reliable and less dependent on pharmaceutical supply chains, and which critics argue raise its own serious legal and ethical questions. The law takes into effect July 1st of 2026. How do you feel about it, Tom?
I love this, because deterrent is where it starts. Do I want to see a bunch of public executions like this? No, I don't. But do I want to see a deterrent? Do I want to see sensibleness? Vinny, you're going to love this. This is some funny math. Only 8% of the adult population has a concealed carry permit in Idaho.
How much? Say it again. What's the percentage?
8%.
Okay.
But 60% of households have guns. You want to know why? Because it's a constitutional concealed carry state, which means if you're in good standing and you're not a felon in anything, then you can carry, which is why Idaho has the lowest ATM muggings in the nation.
Oh, weird.
Because there's a 60% chance that someone's going to turn around and say, "That's my wallet, asshole." Bang.
Hey.
And going to air your ass out.
Yeah.
So that's it. And so now what you're getting, and by the way, Idaho also, Pat, has reciprocity. If you have a concealed carry permit issued in another state, you can come to Idaho and they will recognize it. If you're vacationing or something, or people with RVs often have weapons to protect themselves in the evenings. And I think Idaho is showing the nation how they feel about the strenuousness of the law that should be up on this particular crime. And the backdrop I'm giving you, if they have been by the way, you don't read about Idaho leading the league in murders. You don't read about Idaho leading the league in riots, because you've got an armed populace and it keeps itself in check with the Second Amendment. And now they're coming up and saying this is how valuable. I don't say how terrible is the firing squad. Idaho is saying this is how viable we feel our precious children.
What do you think? By the way, you know what question I just asked? I asked this question because what I want to know is it going to be public? Because they say public execution. They say no public or televised executions. Idaho's firing squad procedures limit viewing to a small group of official witnesses, victim's family, condemned's family, and up to 4 selected media representatives. The event is not open to the general public or broadcast on TV. And recording on social media is prohibited. Rules explicitly ban filming, taping, recording, broadcasting, or using camera phones, electronic devices inside the execution area. Violators face removal and potential legal consequences. Media access is restricted. Approved journalists can observe and report details, but must follow strict protocols with no personnel recording allowed. Post-execution briefings provide official information instead of live clips. What is a post-execution briefing? So the gentleman was standing there, the shot where his left leg gave up first, and what are you going to do?
I think what they're saying is
the breathing of the right.
You always said that your
and
favorite
he goes for the birdie.
Where they're saying is
you always said that your favorite.
It's kind of weird how you do it.
You always said that your favorite part of the game is not the game itself; it's the post-game interviews. This is what's going on.
What I think we need to take it to a whole different level.
Yeah.
I think you need to show it. Is what I think you need to do. You know why? Because in my opinion, I think you need to show it to scare the crap out of the other guy to say, "Oh my God, there's no way I'm going to do that."
Because more is caught than taught.
More is caught than taught in public execution.
There you go.
You can talk about it all you want, but
well,
show it.
There's a theme for
lead, baby.
There's a theme for today's show.
This is all Army Hammer and Uwe Boll's fault.
Well, this is what I was going with. This we talked about the vigilante justice and the movie that you want everybody to watch, Citizen Vigilante. This is what's called institutional justice. Vigilante justice meets in Idaho. Idaho's basically saying we're done playing these games. If you're going to break the law and you're going to be a habitual lawbreaker, you're going to do the things that basically constitute capital punishment, we're going to basically show the world what you've done wrong. So this is the opposite of taking justice in your own hands. This is basically trusting in the government to do what's right and instilling justice. And by the way, I'd like to nominate some people from the firing squad. Maybe some members of the squad want to volunteer to show up and basically put in the first rounds of work, if you know what I mean.
Well, I love
That's a joke, guys.
The word that Tom used is deterrent. When you go to the Target over here in Fort Lauderdale, they have a cop car with the lights on there. No cop is there, Adam, but the car is there and the lights are on. And it, like, by the way, because I want to steal every day. I drive by and I'm like, bro, I'm joking. But it makes
I know
people,
an office that used
it
to
makes
have that.
people go, you know what? I'm not even gonna think about going there because a person that's driving by or walk Adam goes, there's a cop there. I'm not gonna do it. I love the word deterrent, Tom, because it's making people think twice. Okay, we're like this. We're serious about our children. You already know what the Bible says about harming them and what God says that should happen to you if you harm any of these little ones or cause any of them to stumble. So I think putting it out there and showing people, like, listen, you do, this is what you have in store. And in regard to the firing squads, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong. You know what I think it is, Pat? Everyone, and by the way, the police are going to be the ones doing it. Cops on the force are going to do it. And I think that they put, let's say there's 6 shooters at them. All of them get a bullet. Only one of them has an actual bullet in it. Oh. One has a bullet, maybe 2. The rest are blanks so it doesn't have the person that goes, okay, I'm the one that shot and killed someone. Just so, like, doesn't make
Clear
somebody
conscience.
lose their mind and have a clear conscience.
Deterrence.
But again, put it out there. Don't mess with children or else they're coming for you.
Yeah.
Period.
Deterrence.
By the way, David Harris just posted something right now. If you go on his Instagram account, about what just happened in Ireland. And I'm telling you guys, you're going to see this everywhere. Mm-hmm. In Ireland, a group of people took it upon themselves. Armed citizens groups are forming to target those seen as enablers of the so-called Islamic invasion.
Uh-oh.
Go back to his account. We don't need to see these
just
girls.
talking about this?
Go back to his account.
Damn, Connor.
David Harris, go back to his account.
Get out there.
And right there. Second one, go a little bit lower. Lower. I'll let you know. Keep going. You got to keep going. Keep going. It'll be on the left. Keep going. Right there. Top right. That picture right there. Click on that. You're going to see this everywhere. This happened in Italy. One Muslim man was out playing with him. I don't know if you saw that one. He was showed his dangling and he was playing with at the beach.
They beat the hell out of him.
They beat the hell out of Italians.
Everybody got involved.
I think people are going to take it upon themselves if the government doesn't do anything. You're going to see this happening everywhere. And do you see this picture here? Mm-hmm. Look what they're not showing. They're not showing their faces.
Of course.
You're going to see this happening around Europe everywhere. And if they try to bring it to America to do it, we have something called the Second Amendment.
Yeah, good luck.
You know what will happen here?
Oh, forget it.
And in most of these countries, they don't even have a Second Amendment.
Exactly.
Let alone think about it in America if you try to do it.
Yep.
Let alone think about if they do it in America, you know what will happen. So anyways, we'll see. We'll see what will happen. Gang, again, reminder to everybody on July 1st, this is the last chance, fathers. Let's do this together. I have a lot of stuff I want to share with you guys, a quiz, bunch of different items that we'll be talking about July 1st, 6 p.m., fatherhood webinar, how to raise strong kids in a weak society. If you haven't yet registered for it, go to vtwebinar.com. Register again, vtwebinar.com. We're going to talk about 6 different types of fathers. I can't wait for it. We sat down and we finalized the webinar last week, and the items, we're going to have such a good time together when we go through this on July 1st. If you haven't yet registered, go to vtwebinar.com. Register. And the last announcement before we wrap up here today is there's something that's happening this Thursday. We live in the state of Florida, and everybody's been wanting to have a debate take place. I've spoken to all the top 4 candidates in the state of Florida, including Byron Donalds. We've had multiple calls together. Byron Donalds at 55%. However, all the other candidates, I spoke to James Fishback, spoke to Jay Collins this morning, spoke to Fishback this morning, spoke to Paul Renner, the Speaker of the House for the state of Florida. This Thursday, we are hosting the first Florida gubernatorial debate at 6 p.m. live, where Floridians, you'll be able to see it on PBD Podcast. So if you want to play this clip, go for it. Florida, 6 p.m. On Thursday night, the debate. Go ahead.
The way we get closer to the truth is when ideas clash.
I want to be very clear. We are going to institute a 50% OnlyFans sin tax here in Florida.
Let's have a real debate, Byron Donalds. You're a coward. You're a DEI hire. You didn't earn crap. Go first.
Competition drives excellence, right? And I have a real competition problem. I want Florida to lead.
Why in God's green earth are you afraid to debate? There's my participation trophy.
Oh, wow.
This.
Yeah, there should be a debate. They have no authority to control debates.
I'm not afraid to go talk in front of anybody and draw contrast where necessary. The voters want a debate, they deserve a debate, and it's disrespectful to them not to have a debate.
I think in this world of communication, there's a different way to fight and deliver your message, yet stand your ground, but at the same time, maintain a relationship with the other individual.
It's going to be spicy.
Look at that.
It's going to be spicy.
July 2nd, Thursday, debate 6 p.m. with James Fishback, Jay Collins, and Paul Renner. And one of these guys got to get to double digits before Byron Donalds' show. That's the commitment Byron made to me. He's got to get to double digits. Someone's got to get to double digits.
Oh, so what did Byron say exactly?
Byron said if one person gets to double digits, 11%, I'll debate him. So they got some work to do.
What's the current
I think
data?
Fishback's at 8%, Collins is at 5 and 6, and Renner's right behind them as well. So
yeah.
Doors open. It's members only. If you're not a member, go to Boardroom Cigar Lounge to be a member yourself. And everybody goes through background checks. There's going to be security, cops, sheriffs. Everyone's going to be there. But there'll be a live audience, so there'll be a reaction to it as well. But Thursday night, 6 p.m., tune in. Take care, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye, bye-bye.